Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dale around Yak Ben, and we have a fantastic show for you. More April Fool's jokes, ArenaNet at PAX, and Metabattle Ruining PvP. Yeah, it's not the matchmaker or anything. It's definitely the metal battle. Anyway, and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow hosts. A member of Delco Nerd Network, a certain thief told me how much you enjoyed Batman vs. Superman. I agree, it made such waves in the movie industry that they are changing DC Comics to Don't Care Comics. Say hello to the man of many names, but one of them is Anthony Ragucci.
Listen, I could do I have done a whole podcast on Batman v Superman, and I'd be willing to do it right now, but, you know, it's not the time. Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. Glad to have you here. And you can find her streaming over on Twitch, telling her thoughts on Twitter, or even her own website, KitTheTraveler.com. I have dealt with many travelers in my times, like Blues Traveler. Love his music. But there is no other traveler I would want to be adventuring interior with. Say hello to Kit.
Hello?
That's how we do intros here.
Yeah, I know. That's a good joke, though.
Yeah, I was trying to find out multiple different travelers in but then I started getting into time travel and I was like, oh, that's a little bit.
Yeah, that's a little deep.
Yeah. But are you ready to talk all the news of this week?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. And you might have seen us talk about her in our community corner about some of her really creative YouTube videos. She seems like she has some kind of connection to most Guild Wars 2 content creators. I'm worried she is a real-life Order Whispers agent. Say hello to Aidda.
Well, that's why I can't show my face.
I'd probably recognize him like, it's you!
Also, I'm selling apples. Apples for sale.
No, too soon. Too soon.
He's triggered. I'm done.
All right.
That's a road you don't want to go down. All right, well, let us jump right into it. Last week, we kind of talked about some of the April Fool's jokes that kind of released a little bit early. But, you know, since we do the podcast on Saturdays and it releases on Sundays on YouTube, we did not have a chance to actually talk about the April Fool's jokes that happened on Sunday itself. So, one of the things that happened was, I think they did this last year and maybe the year before, but they did joke patch notes on the official forums. And we figured, you know, we'd kind of just look at some of them and talk about the ones that we kind of thought were funny or humorous, which for people in chat, if you want to play along as well, there's the link in chat as so. But yeah, which ones did you kind of enjoy?
I like the general runs were pretty funny. Like the deleting the browser history from the Black Lightning Train Post. That's funny. And also the one under it is fix the scaling bug that made Azura too large. I don't like Azura too much, so you know anything that rags on them, that's fine with me.
The profanity filter of praise and Joko being removed. Not cool, ArenaNet. Not cool.
Actually, I was like, could they make that?
Must fight each other at the end of every fractal. Last player standing gets all the rewards. Just because fractals makes me want to rip my hair out at any time when you're running with pugs.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
That would be actually amazing if that was because you know in the past they've done ones where they've implemented it in game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even if they had to do a separate queue just so it wouldn't anger people, I think that would actually be hilarious if they had somehow a way to work that out.
I don't think that was an April Fool's blue logic about the Ecto. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's oh yeah, the glob of ectoplasms can now be consumed to give players a ghostly purple effect for a short time. Yeah, that would be I wouldn't mind that, but so many people would probably eat it. I know Inks would probably love it as his trying to be that disco ball of light type thing. Be another ore to add. But yeah, I know for me, I was a fan of the deleting browser history. Honestly, yeah. The praise and Joko one, as someone that I don't get it, but
it gets a little too much. I'm just like, okay, I get the joke. Like at the beginning, it was cool when they released. Now I'm just like, it's beating a dead
Don't
horse.
listen to it. Praise Joko.
It kind of reminds me of like the Hail Hydra meme.
Yeah.
But that kind of like fell off, but like it's still like people like bring it back every now and again. It's funny, but like it's not it hasn't been it wasn't done to like overkill anything. But yeah, I feel like Praise Joko. It's funny, but like people just keep throwing it around all the time.
And I knew that was going to happen as soon as I brought that up.
Yeah.
It is very interesting. One of the data mining actually has Joko in the name. So how is that supposed to work?
I don't know.
The figurine. Yeah. There's a figurine of Joko.
Oh, I'm not sure.
So how are they supposed to add that if they take out the name?
I also do like that the necromancers now receive 50% power increase in all cemetery, crypts, and mausoleums. Like, what?
Hey, that would be a cool.
They're already ridiculous.
Like, I want to say racial, but that doesn't really like apply here. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like something like that. I mean,
it's
it
kind
would
of like the like normal racials and put in these class racials. I would be down for that. It'd be silly.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of like what they did with what was it, episode or season 3, where we went to Codicus Manor, where they had those like special things depending on which profession you picked. Like I think it was like if you were a necromancer, you could take that one of Codicus's guys would summon skeleton minions, and you could actually take them from them. And like there was a couple other ones, like I think similarly the ranger, you could charm the guy's pets or something. But
in one of the raid wings, there's something like that. Bastion of the Penitent, there's a door, and I think an engineer can blow it up or a thief can pick it. I'm pretty sure that's, and then there's like just the default way of like hitting the switches and opening it, but there's two like
that's pretty cool.
So, you know, if you have a thief or a engineer, like they can interact with it. You know, it's cool, but yeah, that would be cool if they did more of that stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, like in all the content.
I would like to see that for necromancers. They just like try to kite people over, like in like World v. World, to like a crypt or like a cemetery. Like, come on, come to me.
It'd be awesome if they would have just done that as an April Fool's this year. Like, just tweak those guys' classes for a bit. But I feel like all the like PvP and World v. Rollers would flip out because it would be all messy for a bit.
Yeah.
I think the Char in the new episode also talk about it's not a class thing, it's a race thing. Where if you're a Norn, you get a special dialogue. If you're a human, you get special.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chad, I see how you're saying I'm glad they finally gave Necro buff. Sadly, these aren't real.
Yeah, I know, right?
Which that is the ultimate question. Like, if you guys could have any, you know, maybe one or two of these actually implemented into the game itself. Like, and Chad, I'd like to know your guys' thoughts. I'm guessing there's probably a lot of outcry for the Necromancer, but which ones would you want to see implemented in the game?
I main a Guardian, and I feel like I kind of have somewhat of an ego about myself, and I think the Guardian ones are super like egotistical. They're just like goofy. And I
just love that the Guardian shouts are more positive on renaming.
I would want the Deadeye range increased.
Oh yeah, 33,000.
I definitely would use that because I actually changed my Norn from Pixie to Kit the Shouter just because she was a Guardian and all the stupid like shouting that you have to do when you're playing a Guardian. I would pick those names over the main names because it does sound like you're like.
Would have been even better for the Deadeye if they just did like Infinity, like they just like the Infinity symbol.
It's already like 30,000. It's like you die in like Queensdale. It's like where'd the guy kill me from? It's like Lion's Arch. It's like
at that range you have to take into consideration the like orbit or the spinning of the Earth and the wind.
Yeah.
At that point, you better hope one of the gods just takes your bullet and takes it to the person.
Like Looney Tunes.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, maybe not add it to the game because this goes back to the whole Praise Joker thing, but maybe add it to your Twitch thing for maybe a couple days. You know, for that, put it on that filter. Though it would be kind of funny in game if Praise Joko just came up as like kind of the forums like Kitten.
Yeah.
But
Or if like everyone's name was, or like everything everyone said was just Praise Joko, like in the bubble, but the text box. it was
Praise
actually-
Joko.
I could see them actually doing that, and I would
actually
cry.
been really good. That would have been like really funny. I don't know how like the technical that would get to do that, but that there you go. Send me a check, ain't it?
It works for everything. Instead of cursing, you just say praise Joko and something good happens. Praise Joko.
That's painful.
Everything.
Actually, I did not notice that they misspelled the ranger thing. I noticed they definitely misspelled the engineer part, but I did not see that they swapped the N and G down until I was reading chat. But the Ragnar.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I
didn't even notice that. I
read chat. I'm like, what
Is that
did
on
they, like?
purpose?
I think so because they did the engineer one. But
Yeah, but like that's not even like a misspelling. It's just like a totally different word. You know. That's interesting.
Any other thoughts on the new profession, the Ragnar? Yeah, it's gonna be their new elite spec. It's pretty much the same as all the other ones. Any other thoughts on the April Fool's patch notes before we talk about some of the other April Fool's jokes?
Nope.
Also, normally we don't talk about data mining, but this was an April Fool's joke, and you could easily tell because it was actually done by Chris Cleary, which, if you don't know, works at ArenaNet. So I really doubt, he was putting up a data mine post of, their own content. But yeah, once again, we'll just pull up the thing, and I'll throw the link in chat if you guys want to pick out stuff. But yeah, there was a lot of funny little like nods and stuff like that. Of course, they showed a icon of a Springer mount, and it was labeled under the
Yeah.
So,
I think the legendary aqua breather is just like, I think something we all need, whether we know it or not. I think that's what ArenaNet really needs to actually make into reality. And their bunny ears, That's what I've always wanted, whether I knew it or not.
So we were talking in our guild about how there's the assassins, boots of the assassin. Yes. And that could be a thing.
and then the flavor text was needs more assassins.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can always use more assassins.
Honestly, there's probably an item in assassin's boots is a skin, right?
I'm trying to think because I know
feel
there's
like
like
it
this. I know there's Sneak Thief, but I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
There's got to be like something close in game to that.
Because you can get the runes and then you can get the...
I think chat's on your side. They're saying, isn't that a thing already? So
yeah,
that might be.
I mean, the name probably doesn't come up like that, but
wasn't that a stat set, assassins?
Yeah.
So that's. Oh, okay. Chat's saying assassins is tier 3 human cultural medium. Okay.
Yeah. So if you had that assassin stat with the crest of the assassin, there you go.
Jeez.
The mouthful.
There you go. Joke's on them, man. They don't
so it's achievable in game. Oh my god, the data mine's real. All this is real.
Value 40. See, it's confirmed.
Oh boy.
Now we just have to wait for that buffalo wing glider when you're hungry in the air.
I mean, same question as last time. Is there anything in here that you would want to see actually implemented into the game?
The pole arm.
Oh, you stole mine.
That's just like a poke, man. They're trolling now.
Oh yeah, especially because the flavor text on it is like, shame no one knows how to use one. Ouch.
Hey man, that could be a hint.
Aren't there those Corsair in the what was it, the first map we got, or
Yeah, something like that. You're close.
where they were using they were throwing spears, so that's not far off. But
Yeah.
come on, ArenaNet, stop doing this to us.
Hey, no.
I want to half pick the Strange Rock only for the Guild Wars 1 Nightfall reference.
Ah, good choice.
Oh my god, I want the How to Dance volume so much. Like, I wish that was real. If they should have had put volume 1. They should have just put How to Dance, extra dance skills or something. But I know that they confirmed a while back when they did that little charity event that apparently it might not happen for a 2 because they have so many other things on play, and that I guess the first one was just kind of for fun when the game started. So it was just like, no.
Yeah, I know. I think I still have that somewhere.
Because even Shaman was there, and he was like, because I was the one that asked the question, and Shaman was like, there goes Kit asking the real questions here. Everyone's asking, like, is this coming out? Is this class doing this? And I'm just like, what about Dance Volume 2?
Yeah, and the Macarena flavor text is funny.
Chairs as environmental weapons. Hey, that could be the next step. I mean, we do now have chairs we can sit in. That. But I'll actually cheat since you stole my pull arm one. I'm just gonna say I want the table because as it says, we know everything is on it. Like it's like the cheating method of exactly. It's like you have a genie that asks, it will grant you 3 wishes. You ask for infinite wishes. Boom! I just did the table. Everything's on it. We can go home.
Game's over, kids.
I just.
And that's why he's the host, because he comes up with answers like that.
Yeah, I'm good at pulling things out of nowhere. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of cool little things in the fake data mining. Any other thoughts on the data mine post?
Not really.
Everything else seems pretty normal fun.
Yeah.
Especially like the win trading book for dummies kind of thing joke. Like,
Yeah.
The chat brings up an interesting question. Why is the plus 42 agony infusions only worth 41?
Next question.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I actually didn't even know agony infusions went that high.
Well, wait, do they?
They might. They might, right?
You can wiki it up, agony infusions, and it should give you the latest.
I am so out of fractals. I like if you were like, oh yeah, these are really like yeah.
150 is the max you need.
Wow. Oh, well, that's the
pieces plus.
Let me see if I can.
They don't need it to be that high. It's not. It's just funny that it's worth 41. It's like the money that you can buy that can't be used.
No, I see the highest one listed is plus 23. Or no, it goes up to plus 30. It's just I don't think anybody
It could be
has...
that there's more people doing fractals than it was, and so now you're seeing prices drop. I don't know, because people selling everything. I don't know. Who knows? A lot of the stuff that originally before POF that was like high somewhat in HOT content is now like cheap. Like that's why I was like last night talking about just alone mini pets. Like if anyone hasn't finished their collections when it first started, now's a good time because a lot of minis are cheap because of the Black Lion chest and the tickets and all that crap. It made like everything cheap. Like I think the highest thing I bought was like one of the twisted like Scarlet thingies, whatever minis that was like 20 gold. The rest was like 2 gold and under, and I finished it, and that's 40 achievement points. So
yeah, good call. Because
I do that.
Yeah, when they first did them, I was like, I'm gonna get all the minis. And then what did they do that made that achieve? Did they change the achievement or something?
It was like right before HOT. It was like all the minis were normal. It wasn't really an achievement thing, and then all of a sudden it became an achievement thing, and then all of the minis like went up for like a couple months real high, and then it kind of balanced out a little bit. And then it was just like the like beach stuff, the Farron and all of them were like super expensive as hell to
Yeah,
get.
yeah.
So it
Because
was,
I was definitely in the market of like getting them, and then they got to the point I'm just like, they're too much money.
yeah, now's a good
Yeah.
time. At least I
Good
noticed
call.
last night. I was like, damn, like I'll just get this out of the way.
I'm glad that I sold them before I lost a profit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it could be that's why the acne thing though, the infusions, I think that's probably why. It's just like a lot of things are kind of not really overdone or farmed. It's just like there's so many people doing it now. The prices don't have to be ridiculous.
I don't think minis ever should have been that pricey though.
I wish if they were gonna do that, then they use like mini pet battles or something. Because like me and Aaron said, like I miss the old minis, and then like if not a place to put them, I don't really care for them. That's why I didn't really do it at the beginning. So
Like a Hall.
Maybe the last world
Yeah.
of Sabs is just gonna be where you can battle your minis. They're gonna lump
that would
everything
be
together.
awesome.
What's it called? Polymock.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
The phone game
Exactly.
will eventually come with the minis.
Yeah. The last April Fool's joke that happened on Sunday was Ben giving his resignation letter. And for people who know ArenaNet Ben, you've probably seen him on Reddit. Kind of heavily involved, I think, with like the Fractal team. I think did a little bit with current events or stuff. Like it seems like they bounce around a little bit here and there.
They have like more than one hat for their job for sure.
Yeah. But, they put up a resignation letter, and as you read it, you kind of realize it's in the form of a Rickroll, which for people who don't know, I mean, internet meme using Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up, which, excellent song.
It's a good song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, I mean, the biggest thing was, were you worried when you first saw it? Like you were like, oh no, it's a resignation letter. Like maybe you forgot it was Sunday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just because there's so many, like there's been a couple in the last couple weeks of devs leaving and retiring, like Daria, for example, she's leaving, or she already left Friday, so and she's been with them since the dawn of time, basically, of Guild Wars 2, and she's the one that pushed the fair and stuff. She was the silly person about that, so
yeah,
it scared me a little bit because like I'm just like, no, not more veteran.
Yeah, like if I was an employee, even if it was an April Fool joke, like the last thing I would do is like joke about it and like put something like
Jinx
that.
yourself.
Not even like jinx. It's just like, oh yeah, okay, jinx. It's just like, it's like, whoa. It's like, what?
Oh, I wonder if there was like a secondary joke on that. They're like he posts that and then
like,
goes to like his boss and like
yeah.
about that. And he's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But
Someone didn't get the joke, but I don't know. I don't want to lose my job or like it be in jeopardy because of something like this. But yeah,
no, I would hope not. But yeah, it's
I assume he ran it by the team for the
yeah. It's like, hey, this is a joke, but I'm gonna make sure it doesn't become a reality. Is this cool?
Yeah.
I don't understand how it's funny. Like if he is trying to make it a joke, how is a resignation letter funny?
I think it's to get a rise out of people on April Fool's Day. It's like, it was, it's not a resignation letter. It was in fact a Rickroll, which, the way that worked was someone would send you like a link through like email or something saying, oh, hey, check out this cool, thing I found on the internet. You're like, oh, cool. And then it's, Rick Astley and go, oh.
So one of the bigger April Fool's jokes I saw this year was they were supposedly like the first Shazam trailer came out, and like there have been a bunch of leaks for that, pictures of like Zachary Levi like as Shazam. So like we're getting this first trailer, and then like in the beginning it's like kind of legit, and then it just goes into like some really goofy stuff. Like you're just like, oh yeah, it's Sunday. Like it's April Fool's Day.
Or even the PlayStation came out with their own April Fool's thing. That was funny. It's just I don't know about letter.
I mean, but it would have been funny if he really did it. Probably not that funny for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like then you're like pushing the line there. I wouldn't do that on Reddit.
Yeah. But that was it with all the new April Fool's jokes that we didn't get to cover last week. But since you guys weren't here last week, we talked about the chair achievement and also Sab itself. So how have you guys been enjoying, both of those?
I haven't really jumped into Sab at all, and I probably won't. We were talking off air a little bit. I definitely like burn out of Sab, like after I got all the achievements, like year 1 and year 2. I just once I got those, like I'm a very achievement centric person. Usually like what I'm doing in game is revolved around some achievement of some sort or getting something. I don't just like do stuff for no reason. Like I usually have like an end goal. Like there's a desire or something I'm trying to achieve. Yeah, and it's just SAB is kind of just like, all right, it comes back every year. It's the same thing. They haven't added World 3. Probably won't. Who knows? We'll see. Because they keep talking about it, but like every year, it's just like they're not doing it this year. And they don't.
And the flip side is this was my first SAB. So like I've gone the node now. I got my first weapon. I'm totally excited. We finally upgraded the guild hall to have Sab music. And so we had it all on live stream and danced around. So it's really cool.
Yeah. I imagine it's pretty cool to jump in that for the first time. Because I remember year 1, that was like, what? Like, are you serious? Did they really like make this?
Year 1, I absolutely enjoyed, and I mean, kind of like chat saying, chair achievement more hype than Sab. That's a bit of a bad sign. I really don't think it is, because we're sitting here and saying, basically it sounds like the people that have been playing since, early on or launch or, what have you, have played this multiple times are kind of like, I really don't want to go through Sab again since there's not anything new. At least they gave us an April Fool's joke, but also gave us an achievement to go after. Basically, was a scavenger hunt of sorts, but
have you guys done the race? Have you guys done the race?
No, I heard there was a race and I haven't jumped in to do it, but I heard it's pretty intricate.
It's very hard. Yeah. You want to be the bee when you start. That's the goal.
So do you switch from like different animals that are like representations of Springer or whatever?
No, it's like a checkpoint thing. You can run either as yourself, but it's a lot easier if you're the little bee dog.
Okay.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I haven't, and I think the problem with that is it's like I don't want to hop into anything Sab related, but that is like in the Sab hub, which I have heard good things about the race, but I'm just like, if
there was an achievement, I'd jump in and do it. But
there is an achievement, I think.
There is?
Yeah,
really?
You have to do it under 5 minutes, and a lot of people still don't even finish the race at 10 minutes. So it's super hard.
Chad's saying the race is their hardest race so far. So.
Is the achievement in the I didn't see it. I just scrolled through. I thought maybe I missed it.
It's that you have to do it under 5 minutes.
Yeah, but like what
is
category?
It hidden or is it?
Yeah,
is it?
I have to log in now.
I was gonna say, careful. We might lose Anthony here.
It's like, all right, guys.
He's like, I just got a cough here all of a sudden.
Yeah, but to talk about the chair achievement, I haven't really even looked into it other than I think I watched Wooden Potatoes YouTube video and he was talking about it for a bit. And it's something I'll definitely do. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's sitting in chairs.
It's one of the best things ever, especially if you do it with a guild and you get an Assuran and you get a Norn, and it's wonderful to be able to sit in them.
You can make all the chairs in the guild hall, right?
I think most of them.
Yeah.
Okay, chat's saying it's called Flight of the Bumblepugs, and they also think it's an annual achievement, possibly. So it might be in that area.
Okay. Yeah,
I know they did separate them, so it was, easier to find certain things. But
good to know.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the chair achievement or Sab itself?
The chair thing, I'm just taking my time because I'm just like, meh. Like, I'm glad we can finally sit in chairs.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's been forever, but it's also nothing to get excited about on my end because I'm just like,
it's quality of life.
Yeah, it's
cool
one of those
at the end
things.
of
Is
the
like
day,
there's
but-
some people like that stuff. It's kind of like what MMO Inc. said a while back when like people complain about skins, weapon skins. Sometimes they're like really shiny, sometimes they're like really dull and plain. There's people that like certain things like that. So I'm not a fan of it really. But and the same with Zab. Like I'm on the same page. I've done it once, twice, and then when it came back, I burnt myself through it, and now I'm just like, nah. Whatever. I'll probably do that race thing just for the achievement and I'm out.
We made a specific stream just to sit in chairs. It was so cool to go around the entire world and go, we're going to go to this bar. We're going to go to this bar. We told jokes. We did musical chairs in the guild hall. It was epic.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool that like there is like it really impacts the role playing community.
Yeah.
Because like
I was gonna say it's definitely a nice quality of life addition, but it's also an awesome way to introduce it as like, because they had that video where it was like so many people have been asking for this for so long, and it's like the music was making it more tense. It's like sitting. It's like what? So it was definitely an awesome way to introduce just a quality of life update to the
absolutely,
to the game itself.
I agree.
Even had actors in those like motion capture suits sitting down and the best part.
Wait, did they mocap them? Like actually?
Yeah, they they showed people in mocap doing like seating positions. But yeah, it was
hilarious.
pretty awesome.
I don't think I saw that. That's actually really funny.
Yeah, what was the update supposed to be? Seat of Power or something like that?
Yeah, it was Seat of Power. Maybe I didn't see that part. I think I watched the video. I don't know.
It was like a quick pan, like they didn't stay on it too long. So
I mean, the best part of it is that the RPers that are left in the community, that is, at least they have now actually sitting chairs, so they can actually do their stuff. Because that was one thing I know back when there were separate servers, RPers really wanted.
Oh, it's so great! But you can talk while you're sitting, and you can wave, and you can shrug, so you actually get a lot of emotes too.
That's awesome.
We've already used it for some videos, so yeah.
And Mac, I know we have a different understanding of the word cool. What I'm basically saying is, compared to we made it possible for you to glide anywhere in Tyria after hot. That was just a patch note, and then they said they revamped the Shatterer. In this, instead of just making it a patch note of like, yeah, we added a quality of life thing, like kind of just throwing it like they made more of it and tied it to an April Fool's joke. That's what I like about it, the creativity that went, behind making it. It was perfect timing, I think. But
yeah, it's also it's useful, like in its ways. It's not every player is going to utilize something like that or care about it, but like World of Warcraft has had that since long.
Yeah, that's why I was
like you look at it like that. Other games have that stuff, and Guild Wars didn't.
That's why I also didn't understand when Hot came out, the guild halls had you can make chairs, and I was like, but you can't even sit in them. So why would you waste your time making that stuff? But now you can, so it's like
and who knows? This may lead to other animations on, I don't know, eating at a table or something and other animations interact with things you can make in your guild hall or whatever is in the world,
or player housing.
Oh Lord!
Well, good luck with that. I think they'll try to. I think they're really going to try to stick with the what is it, the
instances or whatever.
Your home instance.
Yeah, that's why having decked out mine, I'm just like, nah, this is not a house.
Yeah. No, I like chat's idea of would eating animations at a dinner table be the next in Guild Wars 2 or in Guild Wars. So
it has to be that a cat comes up to you while you're sitting.
Well, there you go. If you have it in your home instance and you can sit there, if you have all the cats, they'll just start tackling you.
Yep.
But any other thoughts on the chair and Zab stuff? All right.
No, I'm good on that.
Okay, let us move on to PAX. I think we talked about how they were going to PAX. Well, this weekend is PAX itself, and some staff of ArenaNet went. They did put up on Twitter an image of a contest, and if you're I'm pretty sure the requirement is you have to be at PAX. It doesn't say that, but it is saying take a photo with the Griffin, which we will get to that, which you kind of have to be at PAX for that. But basically, for the people at PAX, if maybe you're watching this on your phone, you're the dedicated. But you can, if you include the hashtags GW2IRL and GW2 giveaway, you can possibly get a chance at a couple prizes. So they'll pick one person for a $500 Amazon gift card, 5 people for $100 Amazon gift cards, and 44 people for 10 Amazon gift cards. So if you're at PAX and you can make it to that line, you can apparently ride a Griffin. And you're probably thinking, the heck do you mean ride a Griffin? Well, they have been posting pictures and videos, and so have so many other people, because
I really hope they bring that Griffin over here to the Seattle PAX.
I was gonna say, I would imagine, because that's their home.
That's my other favorite map.
It's cool. It's definitely a cool idea that they did. Because like a lot of people were like, I think when did they announce they were going to PAX? In the summer, maybe. Or it was a while ago. I feel.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was. I feel like over a month, like maybe 2 months ago.
Really? 2 months? Okay. But yeah, they were like, everyone's like, what are they at PAX for? And I'm like, they're not going to announce anything. I think they're just going there to just,
someone say that they're going to announce that Guild Wars, the original, was coming on to the on the phone. Like,
yeah.
I was like, what the frick?
I was like, yeah, like,
no.
Yeah, I heard somebody else say something about a mobile thing, and I'm like,
because apparently
they're going to go and promote Guild Wars 2, which this Griffin thing is doing, like they're not giving anything Guild Wars 2 related away, but you're going into PAX. I don't know where in PAX this is. It must be near the door, I think, like where you come in, somewhere close. But, you're walking by, you see this Griffin, Guild Wars 2. If you haven't heard of that game, like that's piquing your interest right there.
Yeah.
At least, and you're taking pictures and you're putting it up, and, maybe they're going to get some people out of that. I don't know if it's going to be insanely helpful, but I think it's a cool.
If you're following on the Twitter, there are people who are saying they're going to get cosplay to just sit in the Griffin.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be cool if there were some Guild Wars 2 cosplayers at PAX East.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume they're probably pretty rare, but like that would be a sick picture.
And actually, I think it was earlier today, they actually, and I kind of like this, they actually did a kind of like, if you were at PAX, you could, like, they were letting you go through the line type thing. You could sit in line at home. Like, isn't that like fantastic? But yeah, here's the video of it real quick. It's, it just shows kind of closer up on the Griffin itself and stuff like that, and kind of how people are, mounting it and all that stuff. But yeah, it's definitely, I think it's definitely cool. It's, I've seen a lot of people with the hashtags, because you can possibly win $500 or even 100 or 10.
Yeah, I haven't drummed through the hashtag, but I saw like when Age and Malthanis and Quo posted their pictures, like that's what I saw, and that was like the first day. So I'll probably go back and check it out. See what other stuff. Yeah, Ruby's in that video. She's like,
I mean, do you like this idea of having this mount there and stuff like that? And
I mean, most video game companies do this anyways for PAX, so I think it's pretty cool that they finally did it too. Because I think last year, who was it? It was someone with a dinosaur. I couldn't even think who it is, what game it was, but they. Crap. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I've seen so many people take a picture with it.
Was it Ark?
I think it might have been.
It might have been with Ark.
I wanted to say Horizon Zero Dawn, but it's totally not.
I don't know. It could have been.
No, it wasn't.
I just know it was like they had the same thing though. Oh, Monster Hunter maybe? I don't know. I just know it was like a raptor. That was for sure. It was a dinosaur.
Yeah, because with Horizon, I think some of the cons they were at, or even E3, they had the Watcher, which is one of the like littler enemies in the game, like walking around with Aloy and stuff, and you can take pictures with it. Who's the main character is Aloy. But yeah.
Chat's saying Monster Hunter World didn't let you touch their statue.
Let people sit in this one, so I don't know what game it was, because I definitely know people sat in it, because this one, at least here in Seattle, the one they had, they were letting people sit on it. So
Yeah, but like to your question, Dale, or your comment, yeah, I think it's cool. You know, like they don't even have to go. They don't have a reason to, but the fact that they like put some effort into it and came up with like a cool
I think it's
promotional
cool because
thing,
it's kind of like
I can dig it.
Blizzard when they do like BlizzCon. I think they also did it here, but at BlizzCon they do like the weird like spin table camera movement, and it makes you be in the world. Like they put the background on there or something
Yeah,
for
I saw
photos
that.
and stuff, and so that's kind of cool. It's like something that you can be like, hey, like this is something in the game, and this is a game I play. Look at me, I'm nerding out, you know. So
Yeah.
When you
Companies do this for all sorts of things. Like when I went to New York Comic Con in 2016, Iron Fist, the show was just coming out, and they had a thing where you could like jump and do like karate pose, and the 360 camera would go around. You'd be all cool, and you know that has nothing to do with the show really, but you know that's a cool way to promote it and get people like hype about things and like you know making memories.
exactly.
And
And
also,
that's
when you go
okay,
to
go ahead.
when you go to these places, you have so many pictures, and the ones that stand out are really the ones like this, where you're like on a griffin or you're with your friends around the griffin. So it would be really nice to see the pictures.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I think Kit actually said this when we first brought it up, but do you want to see this at other conventions? And I think Kit, you actually said like you'd love to see it, you know, go to
I'm
PAX
hoping
West.
they do. And I'm sure they will. It's just unless that's something that was just like made over there by someone. And
Yeah, I was
then,
gonna say
like,
depending on where it's like stored or something, like
Yeah.
unless it's been made on the East Coast, like you're saying, like I would
because
be
I'm
surprised
pretty
if
sure
it didn't
you
show
gotta
up.
pay some money to ship that thing, or unless they.
What are you talking
drove
about?
it as
It's a
well.
griffin. It just flies itself, right?
It probably
I hope
did
so.
assemble, I would assume.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm definitely curious, and like, do you think they might do actually different mounts? Like, because you know we have
That's what I'm
PAX
saying.
East.
I would be down for even like a different one if they brought like maybe each PAX have a different type of mount for their game and promote it or whatever if they could. But I don't know if this is like an artist that did this or someone in the company itself that made it. So
I
Yeah,
assume
'cause-
they probably got a company to make it. I'm curious about how much it is because if it's not too expensive, I think they would, but it just depends on how much that thing.
because it would be cool because I know Josh like he makes a lot of cool like big statue like type things and toys and equipment and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's his work. I don't know if they even put the name under the picture. Did someone even like did they say who made it at all? Like
I
at
have
all?
I
never
don't think
seen
so.
any mention
Like-
of it, or
That
No.
would be cool to know because like props to them. Like it looks really good details. It looks like part of the game and it looks really cute even though I'm not a Griffin fan. So, you know, I'd be
yeah,
down
because I
for
mean, what if they
vibes.
like planned on like having like one of the different mounts at like maybe different conventions? Like, what's the one in Germany? Isn't it
Gamescom.
Gamescom?
Yeah, Gamescom.
Like, what if like you? I mean, that'd be a lot tougher. Like, you'd probably have to have someone make it there.
Yeah, you'd
'cause
have to have
Oh yeah, you could not fly.
there goes all the budget of whatsoever transporting it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, like maybe having one there, and like you said, PAX West. I don't know, Twitch. I mean, they've gone to TwitchCon in the past, you know. But boy, wouldn't that be horrible if you know you find out the con you're going to is going to be the one that has like the you know, one of the lesser, like one of the mounts that like, you know, no one really uses unless it's situational.
If a water mount showed up here, I'd be like, this is lame. I'm out of here.
I want my
They go to
money back.
Florida. They go to Florida and they have a skimmer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. Like maybe they could put the skimmer in like the California or Florida, like whatever for like the water area / cons. I don't know.
That would be
Because of that
amazing if they
new-
had the skimmer mount, just a bunch of pictures of everybody would just be like this.
Yeah, it's like they don't
I mean, I
want to
don't
take a
wanna
picture
be
with
on
like
this
Santa
one.
Claus or the Easter Bunny, but they like want to at the same time because they want to show that they came and everything. And yeah, I could picture that. It'd just be like grumpy
That's
people.
funny.
I mean, there's some people that love the Skinner. Like that's their thing. I find out of all the mounts that's like the most boring maze because we're not as often in the water anymore. than
Oh,
we
yeah.
normally are.
I
So
agree. It's useful when you're going over water. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like just under. Yeah, it's just
It's
not-
designed to
Maybe-
keep you away from underwater content.
maybe like one of the next living stories, like they come up with like a all water map, and then also like the skimmer's useful. But I barely pull it. I'm always either on the raptor, the bunny, and then that's about it. So
Yeah.
then I glide. So
There you go, chat. Arena, you need to hire Chad here. They're saying scammer hoverboards, like the space hoppers that are shaped like Springer mounts. Like there you go.
Write those checks.
They're just churning out ideas for you. But also but one of the people that went down was Bobby Stein, and he actually said on Twitter that if you are at PAX, he said he would love to talk to people at PAX about like the narrative side if you're like in the business,
especially if you're into it.
Yeah, he'd love to share ideas and like the craft and stuff like that. And he even did say if ArenaNet interests you, he can tell you a bit about the company and the narrative department itself. So, maybe go network if you're actually at PAX and want to do that.
Yeah.
Tell him Deo sent you, and I'm sure he'll be like, who? And that's a little game we have. Like we just, pretend like we don't know each other.
Oh, Bobby, he's a nice guy.
Yeah. But also, I think Bobby Stein, Jessica Price, and Samantha. So sorry about the name. Walschlager. I hope I'm saying it right.
I think you got it.
Yeah, we're at a panel. It just happened actually. If you're watching this live, it happened I think at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. But it was a player walks into the bar. ... Then what? And it had them and also some people from Robert Brooks from Encounter Table Publishing, Tanya X Short from Kit Fox, and Anne Lemme from Ubisoft. So they kind of just talked about if you're a fan of I would say Guild Wars 2 behind the scenes stuff. It's when they did the Foley work and stuff like that, it was definitely interesting to hear that from people in the business, like maybe how to get into the business and, challenges and stuff like that. But it was definitely interesting to listen to. Did any of you by any chance get a chance to watch it or hear any of it?
I didn't get to watch it. I was going to watch it later is what I was going to do.
Yeah, I forgot it was happening. So I totally totally forgot.
So you have something to look forward to. I got a little screen grab of it, and you can see at the bottom left corner there is someone that photobombs it.
Oh my god!
I just love that all the photos that come up, everyone keeps asking if you're photoshopping people in or if you've been messing with them. Every time I see the post, I'm like, I don't.
As I was posting, I was like, that does look like I just put them in there.
Yeah, like
that's actually really funny.
Yeah, it was near the end. I was like, oh my god, no, that couldn't have been.
No, impossible. Does he know about it? Did you tell him?
Oh yeah, I tweeted him I was like, I saw you. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. I think it was on we'll have the link in the description. I can throw it in chat right now, but I think it was their PAX 3 channel. But just in case, here's a link to the video itself, and you can go and listen to it. Like I did like the moment Bobby Stein gave a shout out to Mike Z, and I think referred to him as the Silver Fox. Just out of nowhere, I was like, but yeah, it was definitely interesting. I was waiting for I think it was a discussion between both Jessica and Samantha, but I think they were talking about kind of giving the fans what they want, and sometimes if they don't like a character in the story, don't just immediately get rid of them. I just had a feeling that they were gonna say Bram at some point, because I mean, personally, I didn't mind Bram, but I know the internet was kind of unanimously against it.
Too many people hate on Bram. I'll be honest.
I also think they over like I don't know, not say like they rode on the coats of everyone being like, oh my god, he's in the emo stage. Like, I don't know, because I think Bram is fine too. I just think it just he just got kind of thrown under the bus as the 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 emo character out of the bunch for a bit because there's no one else right now that's in like the woe of pain and I lost someone and I'm an angry person because I lost someone. So
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like in the span of like a couple years, he lost both parents. It's like,
and I think, and that's why I was trying to explain to one of my friends because they were like, I just think he's so whiny. And I said, you got to understand that like right before the end, before HOT, him and his mom finally like kind of made peace. Like he understood why his mom did what she did and like why she was in the group. So now he was all cool with her. It's kind of like, you know, you reconnected with your family member or loved one or whatever, and then boom, it's taken away. And now, like, it's like, what do you do? So his
and even Rox was about to leave him to go join Ritloff Warband.
What I loved though was that if you paid attention to the dialogue with the little cubs were very angry and getting upset because their village was being attacked. And he even stepped in and said, you know, it's not that good to be like that because, you know, example for him, it causes a lot of more problems or trauma and stuff like that than it needs to be.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I always liked Bram, and I think you hit it on the head there, where it's like at the very beginning, like leading up to Heart of Thorn stuff, it's like there was those moments where he was finally getting to go on these adventures with his mother, and it was like starting to connect. And what was it? The one where you have to go to what's the level 80 Frost Gorge, and you have to deal with the event there. It's like there's that dialogue of him, like, you know, you could definitely see that connection starting to go.
He had like this toot of like, whatever, we're like related. But then, and as the progress of that story went, they finally like connected. He learned who his mom was really about, and then, you know, how he kind of regretted the time that they lost. And same with her. Like it was just like both of them felt good at the end before that boom, you know, issue happened for HOT. So
yeah,
I mean, even the writing for Garm was perfect for Living Story 3 and 4. It's just he doesn't know which way to go, and he'll just whine.
And it makes sense, and that's why it kind of sucks for, in a sense, it sucks for these living stories to be so spread apart, because it feels like the time lapse of these people is like either anger, happiness, whatever that's going on. It seems like it's dragged because, like, I get some people like, oh, well, he needs to just get over it by now. Like, okay, yes, in a sense, because the time lapse of what's going on, but at the same time, it's like, it's how they're writing it. Like, you can't really control that end. So, like, I can't really get upset. It's like, if that's the case, then I should get upset about Timey magically being, I don't want to spoil it, but basically, having basically a repeat of 2.0 of what happened to her before HOT. So with her and her goal, so it's just like, I could get mad about that and be like, well, this is boring to me. Like, we've already seen this. Like, why are you using this kind of like repeat system again? You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. It's like, I give Bram some slack because he's mourning. He's learning about his life. He's learning, to move on. And he's also trying to figure out his emotions. So
yeah. And I think that's what's so powerful about the writing is there's so many NPCs we could connect with. I mean, either you love Tiny or you hate her, or you love Bram or you hate.
And that's why this living story, I'm excited that Rox finally got some limelight, because gosh dang, it was like almost a whole year, 2 years. It felt like nothing. No Rox. Like, where the heck she been?
Yeah, she was like, she was movable background. Like, it was like,
I really
here's me and the dog.
Yeah, and but one thing I kind of stunk, and I guess my opinion of her new voice actor will solidify as we get more stuff from her. But like, I wasn't a fan of the new voice actress. I was like, oh no, I was like not feeling it. She sounded like she aged 40 years and like started smoking a little bit. Like,
she was just irritated for never having any lines. She was just like, I'm just gonna start.
Yeah, like chain smoking. Like, I don't know. It was a little jarring. Like
I
it
think
kind of
it's also
sucks.
they have to be so raspy because they're Char. You don't want someone like a normal human being voice being like, "Hi, I'm Rox" or something, because then you're gonna be like, you're supposed to be like snarly and like,
I don't know.
ferocious.
I thought she still had like her voice was kind of like deepish for
Mhm.
a girl. That was fine. I didn't think anything was like too.
Honestly,
I thought it was fine. Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't notice until when I was playing it and Inks was like, "So, what do you think of the new voice actor for Rox?" I was like, "Huh?"
I didn't
Yeah,
notice.
it took me a few lines. I was like, that's different.
Oh
I
no,
mean-
I
So
get
what, I
you
was like-
on the whole Norn feeling thing, but at the same time, Matt, even all the like the other devs, they have stated that the issue is it's also just there's not enough Norn lore. Like there's not enough like even Char. Like the game has been almost pretty much human centric, so you can't really slap the devs for being like, oh, we're gonna give him like this human like emotions. You can't really do that. Like
Everyone has emotions.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
and he also hangs out with different, like, also how you're raised, like, if who you're around, like, people change. Like, look
I
at
was just
Rox.
gonna say because
uh,
he's technically like a teenager of sort, like at this
Yeah.
like kind of age, and
exactly.
I mean
And-
he's now part of this group that's going to other cultures like
And
human
like,
Char.
exactly. If that's the case, then Rox shouldn't be messing with these people because they're not.
And just
Was it like they're not part of like the iron, like the whole Iron and Flame Legion type of thing? Like they're off on this like tropical island chilling out.
if
You
you-
know,
if
Go
you
ahead.
think about the Norn, I mean, Bram also could be just pissed off at the commander because it's like he doesn't have any power. Everyone's listening to the commander, so he might just be pissed off about that.
Well, he does want to go after Jormag. Like, that was a huge.
yeah, he
thing.
wants to kill a dragon because
Yeah.
he feels
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it just needs to be done with. And the commander basically knows like, well, if you do, this is what's gonna happen. So now he feels like it's more like he's being held back from doing something to get kind of revenge on his mom and his people.
I think they tried to. I really think the new guild is kind of going back to like what Kit was saying about it. It almost feels like that melting pot that like you kind of hear with like American culture, where it's like you have all these other cultures that came in and kind of mixed together. It's you get these different traditions because if you think about it, it comes from a human idea, like what you are saying in chat.
Mhm.
But one thing he's going after for the dragons is to kind of make that legend and cement that legend for his mother, for his like kind of like almost like an honor type thing. It's like, so it still has that like remnants of Norn, but it's almost like Norn culture 2.0 or
Yeah, it basically the world is always evolving. You just have to kind of think it as you're a human right now. Civilization has grown. Like we came from whatever farms and lands and castles and like it grow. You know what I mean? And then as time goes on, we progress and stuff like that, and we change, and some people's beliefs and all that stuff. So, his beliefs might not be 100% us nerd birds of lore of Norn and stuff. I get it, but at the same time, you got to think where the timeline is in the game and storyline and where he's at right now, who he's hanging around with. So obviously he must like this group of people, and he definitely is never going to leave Timey's side, because he's even said that way at the beginning of like season 1 when like they had to rescue her. Like he's basically buddies with her.
Mm-hmm.
And normally, like a Sir will make fun of Norn, like even in Guild Wars 1 with Jorah and the Sir, like it goes
Buka.
down. Like it's history, it changes. They mingle with each other, they get to know each other, and then it's like the love-hate relationship kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'd never even thought of like I'd like to see that aftermath that Chat's talking about. Someone embarrassing. Bram rallied all the Norn to kind of lead them to Jormag, and it's like he's asleep.
Right?
Like, well, that's awkward.
Well,
But
that's why he's not going home. He's going to stay in that village for a while.
until the heat dies down,
Yeah.
it's like, ugh. Maybe
He's
my
hiding.
legend will diminish a little bit here. But Any other thoughts on PAX in general?
So I was while we were talking, Anne LeMay from Ubisoft kind of like I was like, oh, I wonder what she's done. She has a pretty decent resume here. So she worked on Mass Effect 3, Dragon Age Inquisition, Mass Effect Andromeda, and Assassin's Creed Origins. So
nice.
So she was working for BioWare and I guess left after Andromeda. And then she's a Ubisoft now. So she's a pretty big name.
Yeah, and they do definitely talk about like the Mass Effect series, and I think she even mentions, I want to say I think she does mention Assassin's Creed at one point, but that is the nice thing is like, you know, it's not just from the perspective of the ArenaNet employees. It like I think Tanya X Short is actually an indie dev, like working on smaller games.
Yeah,
like it had a good variety of, you know, backgrounds, and so it's definitely, if you're interested in the, you know, like getting into the industry and stuff like that, definitely, you know, check it out. Yeah, Jessica Price was new and you know, is impressed with her work. Yeah, I think she's done great so far. I mean, can't wait to see more.
I don't think there's ever drama. I've never seen drama. I mean, what do you mean? Like, are people getting upset that they're leaving, they don't want to leave, or people are getting mad and want them to leave? Because, I don't know. I think it's just, it's upsetting just a little bit for me, wise, is because it's like a familiar face. You know what content they worked on. And if you met them, like, if you go to these PAX, they'll tell you, like, what they've worked on, what they did. And it's like, you know, that's something I liked in that game. And now that person's leaving, and that's cool because they're probably going to do some more cool stuff in other games or whatever they plan on doing. But it's just like, dang, now they're never going to come back. Like, what? Like, who's going to replace them and make that next thing better? Which so far the people they bring in is pretty good. So,
And I think like when they're clarifying, like they mean in general when people see lots of ArenaNet people leave at once. I think the mentality behind that is, you know, I don't know, you know, I don't think any of us know, but you know, I think it's the idea behind, oh, there might have been a regime, you know, a way in thinking has changed, like on the higher ups, and you know, it's one of those things like wherever you work, it's like if you don't like the way the company operates, you do have the option to leave. Which I think that's what maybe people jump to. Don't know if that's the actual reason or.
Yeah, you know.
What was that guy's one name? Was it Matt or whatever? The one guy that was gonna take over Mike's spot for a bit, and then he went over to League of Legends like right after. Like it was barely a year because apparently he really actually wanted to go into League of Legends and not into Guild Wars 2. Like he didn't mind Guild Wars 2 and he liked Guild Wars 2, but he actually was really going for that. So he was like, I'm bouncing. He's like, boom. He's like, I got my, you know, call.
Yeah,
so
it was
like
their dream job or something.
Like if a better call comes and you like that more than your main job, then sometimes you go. And it's like, Deo said, think of it as your normal job. Like if a better opportunity came, you probably would jump it.
Yeah,
or
I was just gonna say
something that you loved, you'll probably jump it. So
yeah. That's why you leave a job, right? Like unless it's like, you know, there's a crappy situation with the company, like you're usually leaving for something better. So look at it like that.
As a player, if you're reading all these people are leaving, you kind of feel like maybe not abandoned, but you feel like maybe the game is.
It's probably because they also time it where it's just like, it seems like they're all leaving at a certain period together, but it's probably the way their contracts are also placed. Like maybe they got hired at the same time with these group of people who, you know, it's just one of those things. You just got to think of it as RL job right now. Like wherever you work at, sometimes people come in together, sometimes people leave together. It's
just what it is.
And it does suck. Yeah.
You want to leave when you have a job, right? When something really good happens. Because it looks good.
Hey, look at Mass Effect and BioWare. Once Mass Effect 3 was done, what's his name? Casey Hudson left. He was the lead of Mass Effect, and everyone was like, "What? Like that's big." And look what happened with Andromeda, and he came back. You know, like things happen.
Exactly. I was gonna say, what's his face? Evans is his name? He just came back recently to Guild Wars 2 as well, and he actually left to do Go Gigantics or Gigantic, whatever. I can't think of that game, but since that game,
Gigantics, I think.
yeah, since it's no more, he went back. He's back in the Guild Wars 2. So, it's a thing. Like sometimes they do come back, sometimes they don't fully leave. So,
like us, like we'll come back. Talking Skritt career will come back.
I would so wish that Colin would come back, just because that's the only person that like.
Yeah, I do.
But I doubt it right now.
I liked Colin a
They're
lot.
pretty excited about their game because I saw a latest Twitter post of like them doing like I guess like camera footage type thing. So I guess he won't come back for now.
Maybe they'll do a crossover. Maybe Guild Wars 2 will lead the Mist. It's a mysterious place. It might lead into what's the MMO Amazon Game Studios is doing, but New Frontier. But you know,
yeah.
Though I don't think he's actually working on that one. But
yeah, I'm not sure.
He's working on what is that game called? I'll have to look it up.
Well, wasn't it supposed to be Breakout?
Breakaway, right?
Breakaway, but wasn't that shelved recently? Or
no, it's not. It's not Breakaway. It's something else because like it has like shooters and stuff in it. Crucible.
Okay, maybe it was Crucible.
Yeah.
Because even a few of the other Guild Wars 2 devs actually went over there too within that time period of like a group of them. So
yeah, Breakaway was shelved a few days ago. Last week they announced that the game. I don't know what that necessarily.
Yeah, that's.
It's.
I knew it was one of those two games. I just knew he wasn't working on the MMO, but I still remember because when they showed it off, like I don't know if you guys have that where like when you play Guild Wars 2, this is like one of your more preferred games, and the devs and stuff like that. When I heard his voice talking about, I think like the esports of Crucible, like I almost felt like a proud parent. I was like, "That's Colin!" Like,
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like I still remember watching Game Breaker, and when I saw, I think one of the first times Elizabeth showed up on one of the small living story teams, I was like, oh my god, that's
Yeah.
So it's it's one of those cool things where it's like you can kind of follow them through their different games. But we're talking. I guess we're talking about that, and it is sad that when people do have to leave, but hopefully it's for good. Better things, better opportunities and whatnot. And I think we talked about very briefly earlier, but Dara I'm always horrible with last names, but Potocka,
yeah, that's how it's
but they were the embedded QA at ArenaNet, which originally I think they started as QA, and then embedded mostly focuses on like the systems and stuff, I think, in game, if I'm not mistaken. But unfortunately their last day was yesterday, if you're watching this live. But they did mention, look forward to continued puns, Lord Farron, and parody song. So, there is a silver lining. It is sad that they are leaving ArenaNet, but they're not leaving for good, type of thing. They're still going to be there.
Their work will live on.
Yes, exactly. But any remarks you want to say to Dara? Maybe safe travels or anything?
I'm just gonna miss all her puns because she's hilarious, and she's very hilarious in person as well. So she's a very nice person. Wherever she goes, I hope she is going to enjoy herself some more and expand on whatever she plans on doing, because she does all sorts of things.
She has a good LinkedIn. That's what I was reading. That looks good.
Chat saying it will be as long as we have Gale Gray. And you know what? In the end, I think what we were saying earlier of kind of the gaming community's worry of when you see a lot of devs leave, it's like, oh, the game's gonna change to something I hate. No, they got people in that job to find, find
Yeah, most
people
of the time
that
they
are.
hire these people before you guys even know it as well. Like they hire them in the background and they kind of understudy them and like train them up to that point. It's not like, oh, boom, they're gone. Someone got in place and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what's going on. No, most of the time they know exactly what is going on. It takes several months before they're like, okay, this person has my spot now.
And it's like at any business, if you've ever had or were in the behind the scenes of like maybe helping people hire people onto your company, it's like they don't go, well, this person's nothing like anybody else, it's probably gonna ruffle feathers. Yeah, let's hire them. No, they're trying to find people that are a good fit for the team. Like they're probably taking the mentality of the game, the teams and whatnot into into consideration. And that's while people I think worry about it, you never see like this game has turned 180 180 and it's like horrible. And I'd never seen that. I mean, I've seen people make those posts, but I never see actual proof of it.
And I think that there needs to be new people in, because for like someone like me who's been new, it's like, oh, this person's also new and they work there. That feels good. That way we're not indebted with all these like really old veteran players all the time.
In Guild Wars, like original, the wiki usually had an update of like all the current employees and employees that leave. Obviously, I don't think they do it for the Guild Wars 2 because I don't think they really go through the detail of that anymore like they used to. So, and that's just something that Mike has like pushed hard on, is to kind of keep the background magic quiet. So, as I put it, I don't like if there's a particular dev that's set in like a certain seat, I don't think of that anymore, because even Matt and them have said on stream, and Ruby, most of these devs have multiple hats. Like they're always doing other parts of the game than normal. Like some can be doing Fractal one season and then some do Raid the next season, or some will be doing Living Story the next season. So it's just like, I just think they all around just work on all the game and that's it. And then unless it's something like super major dramatic, then
that's how we got that Hydra head. It was the guy from PvP. It was epic.
Exactly.
And like Chatsy was saying, even Fractal Ben, who we were talking about earlier, has only been there a few years, and like we were saying before, has been on the Fractal team, has helped with like I think living world, living story stuff. It's like people bounce around. It's
plus that's how, exactly, you find like cool little new unique twist to things, or you find that they can add something more to it. Like the latest raid, I believe there was someone that was able to add like the cool like a fighting effects with the guy and the combat and stuff like that, because they were talking about that on the stream. So it's just like, it really just depends on what's going on currently for those people.
Yeah, and like what Chad is saying, the when you have to potentially worry as a gamer or consumer of the game is when there's a layoff. Like a company has to be like, we're not making ends meet, we have to lay off X amount of people, which we haven't had with ArenaNet. And Chad saying, Sally, you don't know if the new person is going to be as committed to the game as its predecessor. Take all the devs that work on a lot of improvements on their own time because they love the game. You can't guarantee the same commitment. Very true. I mean, and that's where the people that do the hiring process, usually like HR or something, like that's what they do. They try to weed those people out, the people that are committed to possibly doing that. There's a lot of systems in place to hopefully find those people that they prefer. But I would
only worry about white hats because those are hackers. All other hats are fine.
I don't know. I think I actually worked for their QA for HOT, and I will say that when you do work for that company, you get to do more than one thing. So especially if you have the skills to do like coding or embed, like any of that stuff, like you can move around more frequently and be able to experience things. So I say if you ever get a job at ArenaNet, it's actually pretty fun. It's pretty good. You never get bored. Obviously, like you're always like doing things. So, I never seen any people who don't have the same commitment. Even other game companies, like people who never came to this game or worked on this game or know the lore about whatever such game, they always try to put their 100% in. I've never really seen no one do like, and if they do, what happens? They most of the time get fired, called out, and people, pitchforks or whatever. But that's really rare in like most of the games lately. Like, I haven't heard a game besides what No Man's Sky. That was like the heatest one so far.
Yeah.
Things with devs not doing their jobs or whatever the heck it is. But other than
Or
that,
over promising.
yeah. So it's like, you gotta take what you get here. And I think as also Guild Wars 2 is progressing, they know now not to be like over promising like they were in HOT, where it was like, oh, you get this and this and this and this and this, and then we got either taken away or like it got nerfed or it couldn't come out because it would break the game. So it's just like now they're learning. It's like this is the third expansion and it seems like a lot better than it was for second, because the second was like, this is us doing a trial and error. This is us figuring out where this game is going to go. And now the third game is like, we got this. We're starting to get, on this ball. We're getting it going. So we'll have to see what happens next, because
yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what the next expansion holds. Not saying like, oh, I'm done with this already, but it's like you're saying, like the features, like how, what are they learning? Because I think that's been one big criticism was HOT was all meta maps. It's like, oh, we can't do what we usually did, and then kind of the POF was kind of like back to the old, but everybody's like, there's no meta maps. It's like, well, geez, you can...
Don't even get me started on meta maps. I don't know the other.
But it's like, I'd like to see if what the just alone the map makeup for the next expansion. But yeah, that is definitely another topic for another time, because we do still have
exactly
quite a bit of stuff. But we were talking about devs, the narrative team making stuff, and I think they even said in that topic that even if you're not part of the narrative team, like if you're just doing landscapes or level design, you're actually making a story in that, if you don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, you got to kind of do that for making a legendary. And this time on Reddit, there was this past week on Reddit from a Reddit user, Kidney Bloodstones. They actually asked the ultimate question: where will basically the concepts for legendaries come from now, since we the past couple ones we've had the Shining Blade, which is reference to the Shining Blade faction group, and now the Blade or the Claw of Condor, which know there was a lot of tension for that one, since that was kind of like the Char relic, kind of great importance, but now anybody can wield it. So it's I was kind of intrigued by this. It's like, what other ones would you want to see in the game? And I'd love to hear chat's thoughts as well. And
that's a good question. Off the top of my head, nothing's coming to mind.
Stormcaller.
Oh, the Warhorn? Like a Warhorn? That'd be cool.
It needs to happen.
I feel like they could write some lore, like it's like a piece of it that's forged into like a smaller Warhorn or something. I mean, Stormcaller is in the Black Citadel.
Yeah.
So
I think I'd be down for, like, even though the gods have left us, maybe they left like a legendary, like a weapon behind on each one. Each one's a different style for their
that'd be cool
thing.
Yeah,
and then you'd have their kind of like color theme or whatever heck it is for them. I'd be down for that too.
We did have, you collect them all and you become the avatar.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that I would say maybe 75-60% of legendaries be lore centric. I think it just makes the weapon more legendary, I feel that, like, there's more weight to it. Like, it's actually like a weapon of significance within the story of the game, rather than just calling in a legendary and like, that's it. It has some weight to it.
I love my Quogan shield. Do not take that away from me.
The Quogan shield.
It's so goofy.
It's so cute. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. But there is also a line with that. I don't know if you guys follow World of Warcraft at all or play it, but with the Legion expansion, which was the last one that came out, they introduced artifact weapons. And artifact weapons were essentially that. Legendary weapons that were like super lore centric. I mean, like one for the shaman was the Doomhammer, and if you play World of Warcraft or know anything about it, the Doomhammer is a weapon that's used by Thrall, who's just insanely important character. And It's like they had to make a story about how the player gets that weapon.
Yep.
But now with Battle of Azeroth, the new expansion coming in, they're taking them away. They wrote into the story like you have to sacrifice your artifact weapon to do something or whatever. But it's just kind of like, really, like that's kind of like a really odd.
But with that thought, they could take the story, because look at the Traherne thing, the memorial thing. They had like a little mini quest. They could do that for whatever, like if they wanted to do, say, like the gods type weapon, they can do like each one where you kind of go into their little hub or their followers and you do a little thing and then you get the weapon. And then from there you can, I guess, build it up or just get the weapon depending on how much they want to make you work for it. So
yeah, as long as the weapon isn't something somebody else is using, like Sahothan or
Magdar.
Magdir, yeah. Like as long as it's not like relevant to a character that like he would be using it or she would be using it for some reason, I'm fine. But if they start like crossing over in the territory like WoW did and like giving the player like one of like the most known weapons in the game, I think that's crossing the line. But yeah, add lore-centric legendaries.
they have lists
Mirror
already. It's already like a skin, so I don't know if they would want to redo that and give it out as a legendary too, because people already have a skin, unless they make it like really fancier than the other or pretend like it's a separate mirror. I don't know, but that's already been in the store, I believe. So
and chat saying they're thinking the legendary or the weapons are done. Well, they can't be until at least this set's done, because I mean, these are still technically holdovers from Heart of Thorns. Now,
there's 4, right? It's a great
I think
sword,
there's 4
bow,
left, yeah.
Warhammer, and I don't remember.
and did the fan one come out yet? The one that was made by a fan? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I don't think
So-
so. Is that actually
I don't think
supposed to be a legendary? I thought that was going to be just a...
I don't know.
The legendary, because weren't they, like they all were making legendary weapons or whatever for the contest?
I thought it was just design a
totally
weapon
wrong.
contest.
No, I thought those were getting added to the game.
They are. I don't know if they're legendaries though.
I think it's a gem.
I don't know either, but
They had it on Twitch. They had one of the artists do a live stream, and they were saying that it was just going to be.
Chat is saying longbow, warhorn, scepter, and greatsword are what's left. So
Scepter. Thank you, Scepter.
Yeah, actually, great segue. One of the first Reddit comments on this thread is the Scepter of War, and that's kind of like the situation where like that's a pretty lore-centric weapon.
It's not a scepter.
And it's not a scepter, it's a staff.
Thank you.
And,
That's
yeah,
what it
like
was, okay.
that they might be doing a story arc with. Who knows? Like I feel like if they made that a legendary weapon and then had to rewrite story around the fact that they were going to use it and they didn't want to do it because now it's in the game, like players can use it, it would just be a little weird. They have to be careful.
I mean, bows, they have a big selection. They have Rotwing's bow from Guild Wars 1. They have the Kingslayer, or the bow of the Kingslayer.
I don't know, maybe after weapons, they'll start doing some more armor ways of getting legendary armor from other game modes, since not everyone raids or something. Maybe you can be able to craft it soon. But then I'd feel bad for the people that, raiders working their butts to get it in the first place, and then it's just like whatever. Same with like World v Rollers. But I don't know. At some point in the game, it's kind of like ESO, for example. One of my friends just bought the latest expansion, and now he just realized that he could have waited until the next game comes out, because then he could have had played Morrowind for free or whatever in the new class or whatever. So it's like at some point we're gonna have to, as veteran players, need to give up kind of like the reins and let these new players, or players who couldn't get into those sections, into these things, like into these armors and trinkets and stuff like that.
So they're bundling the old expansion in with the new one, so you don't have to get the old one?
Actually, I think when you purchase, I think if you pre-purchase the new expansion, they would give you the more one. But now they just this past week announced that when the new expansion goes live, their optional subscription thing will automatically unlock the as long as you have it as long as you're sub to it, we'll have it unlocked as like a thing. Which so yeah, it's
a little goofy, but
yeah, it's
goofy's the.
But
what I'm most worried about is that we've waited so long for Greatsword that anything that they make is going to be.
I just don't want it to look like Twilight, or like I want a different Greatsword than all like the main ones. For the old ones are just like cool. I just don't like them. I don't care for them because they're exactly alike in texture wise. Like one's night, one's day, and one's like a bright ass version of everything. But it's just like I want something different, and maybe something big. Like I don't know, like
an
not
icy
all
sword.
girly girl and like sparkly. I want something like this is a badass great sword and I'm gonna like chop ya. So
I was trying to find something Norn based and I couldn't find anything in the Guild Wars 1 lore. So,
and I do agree with Chad. Like probably after the weapons, they'll probably flesh out the trinkets, like more legendary trinkets and stuff.
Back pieces, like rings. I'd be down for legendary rings or whatever. Like something. Yeah. They'll definitely have to change it up because if not, they're gonna have to keep pumping out weapons. And I mean, I guess if that's what they want to do with their time and their resources, I guess.
Yeah, it's like. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, my YouTube channel started with the idea of me getting every single legendary in the game. So when they're talking about Generation 3, what's really sad is if you look at like Guild Wars 2 efficiency, only 5% of like the player base actually has a legendary.
Which I mean is that a bad thing? Because that makes it a legendary. Like that makes it a rare thing.
Yeah. It's really, I mean, so when you're talking about content, I would love for them to have more, but I'm just I'm worried that they.
But yeah, it is the idea of are they going to design a quest line or something for 5% of the population?
It's more of the fact that you got to think of the players they're playing now who has time to sit there and grind silverways or anything. Most of us are grown ass adults now. We're not like 18, 19-year-olds playing back when Guild Wars 1 was out like I was. Like now I'm like 31 in May, so like you got to think some people also want really fast. Like there's people, I don't mean to give the credit card people as swipers their thing, but when the original legendaries came out, all they had to do was swipe credit card, get in some gems, turn it into gold, buy their legendary out. And there's people like that. If they don't have the time, they want to get it easy. So, and I know most of my friends, they don't like the new way of how you earn these legendaries. They just want it right here, right now. And that's just how some people are. And then there's some people like us who, like to collect, like to do it because it gives us something to do in the game. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, that's how I've always seen it. I have something to do every time I play.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other aspect of what Chad's saying.
Because it helps make these weapons more rare in a sense to make them that legendary sense. Yeah. In the original one, it was like, oh, cool. I worked really hard for this Twilight, but then I turn around and see my friend who has, he probably has more money than I do, so he just swipe, get his thing, and he got hit. So it's like, wow, now I don't feel as like legendary with this Twilight because this dude just right here just picked it up, swiped his card. So it's like now the newer ones, it's cool. That's kind of gated behind some things of like do an event, whatever you have to do. And then so it's like you had to do this work to get this cool looking ass weapon. So.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of legendaries, Kit, you're doing a giveaway, right?
Yes. If you want to enter, anyone from NA and EU can enter at least. You have to go to my KitTheTraveler.com for the details. It's also on the forums in the community section. But basically, I'm giving away 20 legendaries, and it's going to be like 5 per site. So 5 to Reddit, 5 to Twitter, 5 to Guild Wars 2, and then 5 to Twitch. You can obviously apply for any of them, so you can have more chances at getting one, but obviously you can only win once you do if you win. But yeah, I will be doing that at the end of the year. So far, we're pretty much, I think, 6 or 7 in, and then I just have to buy, like I said earlier, 7 to 8 more precursors and start busting away on those. So luckily, the prices have gone down for T6 mats, so they're not that much of a pain. So
how are your clovers doing? I know
the
that's
clovers is what the pain the part is because my RNG sucks in this game. Like, I can rip my hair out pretty much because it's like anytime I do anything with the Mystic Forge, it's like, here, you can just have this copper or
if it makes
penny.
If it makes you feel any better, if you go to World versus World, that NPC next to the Mystic Toilet, I think her name's Mira, you can kill her when you take over the tower.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I'll put the link in the chat really quick for you.
Yeah, and for people that are watching on YouTube, we'll have the link in the description and all that stuff. So,
but it sounds like a really cool contest.
Yeah, it's a contest of basically appreciation because I've been doing Nicholas the Traveler Descendant stories of community side project for like, I don't know, it's almost like 3 years. It feels like 4 years. So it's like, thanks for supporting me. Thanks for following me for so long. All the other things. I'm not really like quitting. It's just like, I just kind of wanted to show the gratitude because a lot of people in the background support and helped me get where I was. And I just want to be like, here you go. Thanks. So.
Giving back to the community type thing. Also, I started thinking about with the whole legendary thing, like, you know, possible new legendaries, like people were talking about the Scepter of Ore, the Staff of the Mists, which, if you don't know, that's kind of like the sister weapon to the Scepter of Ore, so that could also be an interesting thing. But I was also thinking about, what about like legendaries that kind of like have developed their own lore from the game itself, like that stem from Guild Wars 2. Like I was sitting here thinking, and I was like thinking of stuff that like you couldn't find in the game anymore. For me, I picked like the. Oh, go ahead.
You could also do like Guild Wars 1 stuff because we just saw. I don't want to like ruin the thing, but like Kos, we could do like his shield or something as like, I know it's already in the game as a I think like a basic weapon skin, but like I don't know, maybe they can like pizzazz it up and like make it into a legendary, like maybe some of the old heroes that we have met in the past, because we are in Nightfall and we're starting to run into a lot of the stuff. Maybe we find some of their weapons in like the place or particle of it, and then you have to build on from it or whatever.
That would be cool, yeah. Like almost revitalizing it.
I like. I'm on the wiki right now because I'm just like.
What do you look for?
Kos' shield. What did it look like?
It had a line on it, and it should still be in Guild Wars. Did they take it out? Hang on.
I feel like
I think it was a skin that was kind of reused, but yeah, it was just a like almost like the upper half of a line that was like kind of like roaring from the like profile side.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the Guild Wars 2 Kos, not Guild Wars 1 Kos.
Oh no.
Well, it was already like when Guild Wars 2 came out, it was one of those just like basic like it's exotic or something like that. I'm trying to look it up really quick, but.
So Kos is a warrior. His default shield is a Paragon tribal shield. Let me click on this. Let me click there.
No, chat's even saying it. Apparently, it was a generic shield of the lion, the same shield Troy also used. Yeah, because I know it was also used for one of the set items. I remember having it. It just was like
so
colored differently.
Right.
Mind shield. Okay.
This is what the wiki says. It says, yeah.
That might have been his starter one, like when you have like just the
Yeah, when you
basic,
first
but
start.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, you usually those are like their distinct ones, but I don't know. That's
I
what
mean, the only other thing they could do to, like, I guess, keep people's interest is like me and Aaron were talking last time, bring Hall of Monuments back or something, or like a version of it, and then we could start like building on, maybe like add things to it, and then that gets people to go out and do those
Layer housing.
whatever. So,
All of monuments together. There we go.
yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I hope maybe one day, but any other thoughts on the possibility of where legendaries could go?
not really. Besides that, maybe whatever the current season theme is or something, and then if not, like the next expansion. So like if they do like a different area of the expansion, like they'll probably release another set of themes to that expansion. But if it's
Yeah.
any more for this current expansion, which we have a couple left, it seems, I don't know. I don't feel like it's gonna be too much. Besides what someone else said, probably like the trinkets would be next on the board.
And apparently legendary chairs. Also this past week, this post has been kind of going on for like the past couple weeks, but there's been a little bits of updating here and there, but basically about World v World, they were outlining world restructuring, the Obsidian weapon set, which we've talked about in the past. The Obsidian weapon set, the second half kind of just recently came out, but what they still have left is basically looking at siege re-evaluation, which, I mean, how often do you guys go into World v World with, like, what do you think?
So
I was gonna say, what if you do? It's like, what would you like to see come out of this like siege reevaluation?
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like I'm sitting here and trying to think about it. The only reason I go into World v World within maybe the last 3.5 years at least is just to do dailies. I don't play any World vs. World anymore, and I used to back when I'm on Maguma, and hashtag MagSwag had a Maguma had a huge little World v World community that I was a part of. We actually had a pretty famous commander. I'm trying to think of his name off the top of my head. Zushin, I think his name was, and he was pretty well known for like leading the Maguma servers, but like World v World really just has taken a nosedive and like really has never recovered. Like I don't roam, and I wouldn't necessarily say I'm good at World v World, so like I just go in and I get like train wrecked, like I PvP, but I don't know. World v World is such a like what do I do?
Trying to do an overhaul, because on top of that, it's not so much the devs to be blamed on most of this. It's also the community itself. It's like all the people that were core World v Worlders just expected it to kind of still be like it was when it was first released, and it's not. Every game evolves and goes. It's kind of like Blizzard, like arenas and PvP, like all that stuff changes. Like games change at times. You can't just like expect it to be when was it released, like what, 2016 or 15 for the World v World, but whatever date it was, it's just like they just kind of live in that past, because I'm friends with a lot of those people and that's all they do. It's like talking to your parents who they're like, back in my days I walked to school through snow and rain, like, and you're just like, that's cool.
They're tiny NPCs.
Yes. You're just like, that's great. And I'm sorry you had to go through that, but now this is going on. So
I don't know. I think if you're a World versus Worlder, even if you just get in, there's always that like 6-month bug that you'll get to do World versus World. And so if you ever go back, you might get sucked back in, and it would be really nice. So it's definitely has a draw. I mean, the gameplay is good. The people are good. So
yeah, it definitely just needs a rehaul. And
yeah, I definitely want a rehaul for sure.
I would love to jump in and get that back piece, but like I don't want to go into World v World alone. Like I liked the Zergs. Like that was my World v World experience. Just like jumping in the group, even though like I wasn't like succeeding like personally, like my, the group was. And
I
that's
like
what
all sorts of fights. I like Zerg, small, roamers. I love all of it. I would love to see. It sucks because whenever there is a new map too, it's like, oh, it's gonna be an issue because like the latest map for Desert, it was taken out for a while because people were like, oh, we hate it so much, it's terrible, 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 and then it's like, but now people are bored because they're running the same maps over and over. And then they brought it back, but tweaked it a little bit to what the players wanted to a point, and then now it's just like, okay, well now the game's kind of it's dry. Like there's the armor you can earn. There's the current state is just, it's still. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels very still right now.
Yeah, it's sad too, because like I do PvP a lot more than I used to in the beginning of the game. Not right now, though. I haven't jumped into the new season, and the end of last season was kind of a mess for me. I was just like, I need to take a break, but I got into PvP again because of the back piece, and I think when they implemented the back piece, they also did that whole rehaul too. I could be wrong, but yeah, like that got me into it. Like, and I would love to get that back piece, but again, it's just like I don't know anyone who's besides Age. Like, I don't know anyone who plays the World.
Are you on NA? EU?
I'm on NA.
Okay, well I can't help you. Sorry. I would get you either Salt or us because I mean. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'll say I the couple times like when Malfanis on Wednesdays usually does 0 to Hero, and like when PvP kind of near the end of that season became what it was, he would just go into War of the World and I would join him in that, and I kind of I enjoyed War of the World. I think it also is being with a group of friends, having fun.
Yeah, when you're with friends, it's not so bad. If you're with like your guild mates, it's not so bad. But if you're just like nonchalant coming in there by yourself, most of the time it's pretty boring unless you're an actual like 9 to 5 roamer and don't care and you don't mind that play style, because there's some people who don't mind playing by themselves. That's all good and dandy. But the majority of people, when you play an MMO, you're expecting to play with other people.
I would suggest going to I think every World versus World player has a website that they can go to. So definitely try to check out your server because there's always
and they usually try to like tell you like, oh, join our usually it's join our what is it, Mumble or Ventrilo. It's like, come on, get on the Discord train. I know why they don't, but
we're still using on SOS Speak, and I'm like, no.
Oh yeah, TeamSpeak, that's the other one.
TeamSpeak.
And I understand why before someone in the maybe on YouTube or in the comment in the chat says it. I know it's because those do have bigger and better permissions so you can switch back and forth. But it's just so less convenient.
So out of date. Yeah, and you have to install it. Like if I have to tag up, they're like, you have to get on TeamSpeak. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not even gonna tag up. I'm just gonna untag and just run with the tag who wants to get on TeamSpeak because I don't want to have to install that anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah, see, chat saying they use TeamSpeak on Black. Yeah, I think a lot of them use like TeamSpeak and stuff like that.
Since the crack of dawn with World v World, they've been because of how populated they were and how
even TTS when they were running to Quaddle and doing worms, like oh my god,
exactly. You had to be on TS if you wanted to be in there.
Still doing that.
Are they really like
every
Wow, I remember jumping in like the TeamSpeak and like the intros they would give to those and like talking about getting a little taco next to your name. I was like, this is like the strangest thing. Like it was just
if it's red, it must be dead.
Yeah. If you get there early enough, they tell you, okay, if you're a mesmer, you want to change your elite to this, and if you're a whatever you are, change your skills to that. It's really funny.
Yeah, it was goofy.
But I mean, if you like World versus World, the community is really good. I mean, you find a commander who will take you under your wing and just help you out.
I think for GVGs, they should add like a hall here, like how we have PvP. They should add like an extended like map mode or a couple maps that GVGers could go into, but either it would have to be obviously talked about because it depends what the GVGer wants. But if they want like the World v World statting, or if they would want the way the PvP statting is, and then from there, because I know we have guild halls and stuff, but most of the time, most of my friends always complain that did GVG, they don't like the way it was shaped. Like they don't like the style and the movement of when you're, especially if you're doing like the 12v12s or 10 on 10 or whatever it seemed like it was too small still compared to doing it in open world v world, you know, behind the windmill or by the bridge and stuff. So it'd be cool to have like some type of version of Hall of Heroes from Guild Wars 1 to Guild Wars 2 and like make that for GVGers so they can all, you know, bounce it out and have something different than, you know, getting run over by a Zerg while they're trying to, you know, battle out with another guild on the side.
Some of the other things that they said that they wanted to plan on doing were repeatable reward track, auto restarts, and World v World enrichments. So I'm all for the auto restart because I think sometimes I've been in there and I haven't realized, like I was like, oh, I got my other reward, and I would continue playing and haven't realized it switched to another one when I'm trying to like farm like a certain thing until like the first tier. It's like, what the,
yeah, that's a good thing. It would be
yeah. And I think the World v World enrichments, I think that's supposed to be, if I'm not mistaken, what goes in the amulets, or am I, or I don't know if they started talking about that yet or not. But I mean, you know, in the end, what do you guys think needs to be put in this World v World overhaul ultimately? Like and I saw chat saying earlier, because I remember seeing this during the World v World tournaments, where, you know, as soon as people get back in, a lot of World v Worlders are like, PvE scrubs or noobs or all that stuff, you know, get out of my game, and it's like you're not helping yourselves. Like
the community more toxic, which then it's like, no, if you're a new player and you see that, it's kind of, you either have to have tough skin and go through it and just ignore those people, or you just have to turn off the chat is what I tell people. If not, then most people leave, because I do have some people, like I have a couple friends who get high anxiety over just PvP and World v World. They will not do PvP, and if they do, it's like pulling teeth, because once they hear one bad thing about them or someone says you suck, it's like they start playing more badly or start freaking out, and then they don't want to come back, and it's like, ugh.
I was gonna use the cop-out answer of like, I don't really know, because I don't play World v World enough to like have the knowledge. But I even feel like this is a cop-out answer. Maybe it's on the players, us. I don't know, because like that's why I played before, right? You know, it's just a thought, but I don't know what the hell we could do. It's just more people need to get back into it. I don't know.
The players have been working with the devs. It's just that most of the time it's like the players, that's why I said it's the community itself. You have the vets who can't sit there and let go of the past, and you have the new players who are also trying to put their opinions in, and so it's just like we're clashing on each other, and then we all then turn around when the devs like, okay, so you guys did want this or didn't want this, and then they put it in, and then all of a sudden it's like the whole, well, you didn't listen to us, oh my god, you ruined the mode, and flip out, and like it's the community in World v World who need to sit down, get along with each other for a few moments so that they can get out what they want done in World v World. If not, then of course the devs are going to take over the reins, and they're going to just do what they think is going to happen next, and then you got to sit there and like what comes out or don't like what comes out next. That's the downside of, you know, them communicating with the community. It's the community itself. Yeah. It's kind of like the Raiders.
I'm not even saying like it's the players need to tell the devs what we want. It's like more so like communities being inclusive to not like non-hardcore.
Yeah, because just think of it as raiding too. Like you're a raider, right? Like you, when there was right at the beginning, there was a bunch of people who thought it was unfair, and maybe they should make like a smaller version of a raid, or like a dungeon version, so that people who can't do raids can get in. There was hardcore raiders who were like, that's stupid, like, no, that's not fair, blah, 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 that's not right. And then there's people who are like, okay, cool, you know, I guess that's all right, but I don't think that it's necessary, you know, why would you need, because it's, you know, I can't raid, I can't do, you know, raiding time. It's is the thing. It's like communities are separated in certain sections, and if you guys want things to change, it's like you guys all have to give and take too inside those inner communities, and it's kind of hard because it's like each people have their own thoughts and opinions on how the game should be made or played.
I think raiding and World v World are kind of like tough to compare. Because raiding is specifically designed for like a hardcore experience. World v World isn't. I think I'm right in saying that it really isn't designed for, like a hardcore PvP experience. Yeah, maybe it's a little more complex than
it was at the beginning.
It used to be.
It just got really
It was
easy
the end
for
content,
classes and professions. Yeah, it was end content.
Before Fashion Wars 2, World versus World was end content.
Nonsense. Yeah. Fashion Wars was always the end game.
But that's where the players who actually know the game are. Like, they really know how to play.
It's just like the Fractal people. You see it all the time. Anytime there's a new Fractal, I see people complain right away. Any of my hardcore Fractal people, they're just like, oh, great. I have to deal with pugs who don't know how to do this or don't have admin, don't have, like, but then, like, the people that, just enjoy doing fractals or whatever casually, they just are happy about it. It's just each game mode has their own like hardcores and not so hardcores, or the people that kind of whisper in the background like, please make it easier for us, like we want to enjoy this content too. It's really hard.
Yeah, like I have my gripes on raids, just like not even them being too hard, but I mean, yeah, sometimes like I think the newer wing is a little ridiculous in its difficulty scale. Like the first and the last bosses are really hard. Like my static groups have spent a lot of time on that first boss, and we're on the last boss now and have been for like maybe 2 months. But the two bosses in between them are like events. They're not even like bosses. Right. They're like a face roll. They're not hard at all, really. It took us like a night to do it, but that was it. That's nothing. A night of raiding to kill.
And yeah, it could also depend what server you're on. That sometimes World v World feels like a breeze. It feels like nothing going on. But if you're on like a low pop server and you're going against people that are bigger, there's challenge to that. There's planning. There's like, well, what can we counter with that? Do we just sit out for the whole match? Like there's been servers I've been on, like I've been all over the place. There's been servers where like it's just dead and they will not play until the like matches are redone, and that's it. And that sucks.
I didn't have that issue on Maguma because Maguma is a pretty populated server.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like Blackgate has a good, Maguma has a good, like there's certain servers that, have it good. And that's the thing is like, again, this is a community thing because, when transferring servers came along, that's also what caused another internal issue because the community-wise, there was big guilds selling out to other guilds to get either like, at the time we had tournaments, so you had guilds running over to the popular servers so they can get their easy wins, get their achievements, or whatever the heck it is, while you left all these servers and their communities in the dust, and that messes up it's all over the place. It's one of those things that like literally it needs this overhaul, and I really do hope that everyone does put their input in or do keep up on it so they can't sit there and be like, oh, we didn't know this was coming, because they've been vocal the last several months about this stuff.
Yeah, I don't mean to get off topic and go into rating, but Mithran said, well, Doom, it's supposed to be super hard. Yeah, it's supposed to be super hard, but it's like Solus Horror and Doom are mechanically like insane. Like they are tough, and like it takes hours and hours and weeks of your group like refining their skills to do it. And when you're on a boss for more than 2 months, I think I raid once a week, my team. I know Bjorn's in chat, his team raids 2 times a week, and they still haven't killed Doom. They're just at the same spot we are. They're probably doing a little better than us because they've been on it for a while, but I don't know. If you're on a boss for like that long, I think it's not that the raid is like too hard. It's maybe that boss needs to be like retooled and like so that the next raid isn't just this like easy thing,
So talking about guilds and the alliance thing, I think that if it's raiding or if it's fractals, having the right team with you is what makes the game. I know there's going to be those solo players who are all like, no, I want to be solo. But especially for World versus World, you want to join a group. You want to start doing that now before the alliance happens. We in news have already started an alliance for World versus World. We already have a Discord. We've already talked to like 10 guild leaders. We're already ready. So that would be my biggest suggestion, is to get ready for it.
Well, I mean, we could talk about the whole rating thing after show, since I mean it's
we're gonna
starting to stray like far from it. But yeah, hopefully the whole server population for World v. World will be hopefully addressed with the rebalance or world restructuring.
Hopefully it won't be, because EB is already laggy as heck when it comes to certain spots in that map, especially when there's some, like if you're on a high pop server, it's like, I don't know how your guys' thing is, but at least on SOS, it's like annoying, especially when you're by the SM key, like you're lagging or you're having frame issues and stuff like that. So I'm hoping whatever they plan on doing, either way, it doesn't cause where it's just like crappy frames or any of that stuff, because that's when like it's not fun playing that mode, because the more your skills are delayed, and I'm sure most of you guys watch Teapot whenever he does World v. World, even sometimes they have it really bad, like it gets to a point where like you can see his skill bars just sitting there trying to go, but they can't. Like, that's very frustrating when you're especially trying to take a building, or if you're like going to bump into another Zerg or fight, like that little second could really mess you up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially with all those scourges out there.
Yes.
But like I've seen chat saying a couple of times, the biggest thing is when all that eventually does happen, when the update to World v. World happens, if it isn't perfect, they're still refining it, they're still learning.
Yeah, it's a whole new system, so
yeah, don't, as a community, let's not just instantly go, well, this is crap, you wasted all this time. It's like, no, they're gonna is the concept a good idea? Because the numbers and stuff can be changed.
You can't just sit there in the past. You gotta really kind of let go of the reins and let the devs kind of shoot their thoughts out, and then you can shoot back like what can work in the game itself, because you're in the game, you play it all the time. So sometimes the devs don't know. Like I said earlier, and Deo said earlier, most of these devs bounce around. So sometimes even the people that work on the World v. World aren't originally from the World v. World team. So sometimes they don't know fully what's going on, or they don't even, in the game, they don't even play some of these modes, so they don't know what's really going on the inside unless they played it. So, and they've admitted that on stream a few times, like some haven't done a jumping puzzle before, or some haven't done a fractal before, or and yet they've been in the company for so long, you'd think they would, but that's not the case. That's like that for every game. Like even Blizzard, like I know Blizzard employees for their games, for what, like some don't play the other game modes, and then when they do, they're like, oh wow, this is like cool, and then like they bring something new to the thing. So hopefully this whole revamp is going to be something interesting for sure to bring content wise, but overall I just hope everyone just opens their brain, just let it come through, and then release their words in a nice manner way, not like, you better fucking do this. Like, that's the only thing. It's like when people demand things, they demand it in the wrong way, and it's like that's not how you get what you want in the way.
They're screaming, and then you can't hear the dialogue.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be on the forums day one going, you ruined our game mode.
Every time I see it, it's like, gosh.
Yeah. Which, speaking of ruining game modes, apparently this I think it was just Friday, I believe, an MMORPG article was claiming that Metabattle is ruining PvP. The article was written by Steven Weber. It talks about how, kind of like the title says, believes Metabattle is ruining PvP. For people that don't know, Metabattle is a website that has different builds for different professions, for raiding, World v. World, PvP itself, all types of different builds that you would want. So I mean, have you guys had a chance to look at that article? I mean, what are your thoughts on?
I read it, and I kind of actually agree with that. because I'm one of those types that run my own builds or old school builds because I get so sick of seeing or hearing that you need to run this or you cannot be in this group, or you need to run this because this is what is currently the top thing. And it's like, cool, I can probably do the same numbers and let me show you. And then when I do, it's like, oh, but that's still not meta, so you can't be in the group. So it's like you're still vanished, especially for PvP. It feels like basically I'm being forced to either play something or get blamed or yelled at. Just like that article, like there is like that stuff does go down. It's not like it doesn't go down. It happens. Right now I just joined the season recently and I haven't played since like season 4 because that's what was bothering me at the beginning. Was every single time a season came out, it was like, oh, okay, well, Mesmer is going to be strong this season, Necro is going to be strong this week, and then you see like right now there's always like 2 necromancers in the damn group, and if it's not them, it's the pistol thief, and if not the what do you say, the Shatterer Mez, because he's right about that. It's like one of the Mesmer is in there too, so it's just like, what about all the other classes? What about all the other builds, people? Like, this game gives you so many like things, and you're just sitting there playing the same old thing. I just see a thief go poop 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 poop. Okay, that's it. Like, that's boring to me.
I mean, it's not just meta battle. Yeah, it's a community thing. But when they specifically say you have to use a meta battle guide, and the only reason that it's pulled up is because someone at Metabattle says this build is good. If there's no like.
The only time I find Metabattle fine is if you're like new to MMOs, because I do have some people like that where they just come to a game, they don't know what builds mean, they don't know how to build, they don't know any of that stuff. Then I'm like, go to that site. Like sometimes I'll advertise it out, or I'll even advertise QTs because like for their ratings, like I'll advertise that stuff out. Like I'm like, here you go, you know, because I'm the type that sits there and read my skills. I play with my skills. I mess around with all sorts of skills, even if I know I'm not doing that much damage, or if I'm doing a lot of damage. Like I just have fun with it because there's so much variations and variety of things that we have here. Why should I be stuck playing one build and set whatever for a whole 3 to 4 months before the next season, and then hope that either it gets nerfed or buffed or whatever, and then play another whole set? Like, I just want to play what I want to play. So it's just like, it sucks because like this season for PvP, it already makes me want to not play PvP again because of what's currently going on.
And yeah, if you got rid of the Metabattle website, something else would just pop up.
Well,
exactly.
And I was just going to say, it's unfortunately, the problem is it's great playing with your friends on the internet, but in the end, the problem is it's on the internet. Like, because like you were saying earlier, you either suggest Metabattle for a jumping off point, which I would suggest that, and I saw chat suggesting that is, take it with a chat said take it with a pinch of salt. But yeah, it's like, look at the build and then, maybe run it a little bit, but say, hey, this isn't working for me. Let me tweak it a little bit. That's where you get a build that fits you more. But, like you were saying, you either suggest Metabattle or QT or, maybe another rating guild, website or, I know, what is it? QED does, their guild does fractal, builds and stuff like that. And so it's like, there's always places somewhere. And I was actually going to bring up
something that's always been in Guild Wars 2, and that I think that that thing should have been touched a little bit if that guy was going to push on this topic. Is that like this has been a thing for like a lot of MMOs. Like this started off like, if I were to say, I actually had to rely on IC veins when I started in WoW because I actually didn't know how to stat and gym and all that crap. And that was like what you need. Like, you had to make sure you go to these websites. You got to make sure you got these builds and talent trees and stuff if you want to raid with us, because in there you can preview people's gear, you can preview people's talents, you can't, you can see what's going on in their setup. Here it's mostly through an add-on which doesn't fully have everything yet, and then when you can see, it's, which hopefully maybe Guild Wars 2 will come out with something later on and actually put the work in to actually do that so that people can actually help other people, where you don't have to rely so much on these sites anymore. You can be like, here, dude, like, you should probably try this out or something. Other than that, it's like, just let people play what they want to play. Don't blame this person because he decided to run around with like a torch and a fucking axe for all I know, and like it could be like the weakest weapon set or build, but it's it's his game. Let him play. Like,
I
let
mean,
him enjoy himself. Like,
this is just an anecdote, but my
Yeah.
husband, Guru, plays a necromancer with minions.
yeah, see,
And he
I
rocks
have a friend
at
that still plays
PvP.
that too.
Oh, I have one. I actually have 2 necros. One is my first necro I made in honor of my Guild Wars 1 character. He's a minion master. He hasn't changed since, it's like there's been a couple times like in World v World I would annoy the heck out of people because I'd have all that toughness and it's like they can't kill me.
It also throws them off though. If you notice, if you run builds outside of the meta, like I do it all the time. Like that's why I say I still run the old school like greatsword and longbow ranger because it still does a punch, and at the same time it throws people off because they're like, oh, they're expecting me to either be a soul beast or they're expecting me to be a druid or they're expecting me to throw like trap. No, I'm just like poom, you're dead. Bye. Like I'm moving on. So it's one of those things. It's really, you got to learn your stuff because you could have the greatest gear. You could be mid-max. At the end, if you don't know your own stuff or play around with something that you're comfortable with, then of course you're going to have to rely on these sites. And it's exactly like what Mac was saying right here. He just said that, this is not just a Metabattle issue. It's a product of our times and the current technology, and it's relevant to all games. Yeah, exactly. Like that's why I said, like, this has also been through WoW. This has been through, I'm sure ESO probably has its own version of things. I know Arcade has its version of things. Everyone has it. Like every MMO has its own little talent, like follow this build or you suck.
Honestly, like, it's a complicated situation. But like, I think meta is somewhat important to things and how, especially in competitive. In quick play or whatever the casual mode is, I think whatever you want to do is what you want to do. But if you're playing competitive, I think if you're not following the meta and just something with your build isn't working and like you're getting yelled at or like someone's like, hey dude, like you're not pulling your weight. Like, well,
the issue also with the article said that even if you do follow Metabattle, some of those builds are out of date, and you can even read in the comment section. Like, there's people in the comment section, but the person that owns that build is all like defensive and like, no, it still works or whatever. Okay, cool, but obviously all these other players are telling you it's not working. So maybe it's something that you're used to playing and that you can, easily do. But so it's like the article covers a lot of stuff. It covers like, there's builds that are out of date. There's also an issue where people's mindset in that PvP, like especially for PvP in this game alone, because at least in WoW and other games, people can kind of just go like, F you and like, I'm going to do what I want to do. But here it's just like, if you don't run it, I'm going to report you. I'm going to report you for basically being, basically messing up the game, or if we lose, I'm gonna report you for. So it's like, that's stupid. So stupid. Just like chill for a second and understand, like, you could easily help that person by telling them like in a normal adult way of like, this is what you should do, or maybe next time try this or whatever, instead of being like, I'm just gonna report you then because you're throwing the game. Like, what? Okay.
And yeah, I've seen chat saying it, and that was kind of the point that I kind of came to as well. Is it seems more of like this is just like society in general. Like we said, we have the technology. Like it's then back to, like you said, older games. Like I was even thinking like, EQ. You'd go to other websites where it's like guides and doing this and that, and
that's just what
it's
in
in every game. Yeah,
it's just what it is.
It's kind of like we've already had this anyways.
It doesn't need to be in every game.
Yeah. We had this though in like those strategies guide. Like when you got a video game, sometimes they came with like a guide of how to exactly get to point A to B, to get the gear, to get the like skills that you need, what skills work with what. It's already kind of been embellished in our minds in a sense since we were little. But as we grow older, people want to be best. Like, what's the highest damage I can get? What's the best gear I can get? What's the they're going to work whatever they can. And this is what this site does. It tells you like exactly like if you do this rotation with this rotation, then you get this. And
they have great numbers. It's very fascinating to see how much you can do and your benchmarks. But at the end of the day, if you're seeing someone scream at you when you're doing PvP, it doesn't help.
Yeah, and it's tougher with PvP, but like I would say with like in the context of raids and whatnot. Like if you're pugging or if you're finding a guild, I would imagine if you're finding a guild, you're probably going in knowing beforehand. But like a pug group, like this was the same thing with dungeons. Like if it says a meta group, I mean, you just got to realize that's the group. You know, there's a lot of people out there. I'm sure, you know, what is it? The EU and NA both have Discord. You know, they have Discord servers that are like training guilds, like that will, you know. And I think they require like meta builds too, but you know, it's one of those things where it's like it's that mentality of they don't have to worry about the person as much, supposedly. I mean,
yeah, and this is like in every mode too, because like World v World's like that. If you're in a strict type of guild mode, even like guilds will be like, this is what you need to run. All guardians need to be running this. All revenants need to be doing this, because it's to help the, you know, run. So like if backline needs this, or Hellies need to throw out waters, and you know, hammers need to go down, like that's why they're run a certain way. But at the same time, it sucks because the game gives you the option though to be versatile and be able to play what you want to play. So I don't know, I guess it also depends, like we said earlier, if a new player doesn't know how to make a build to a player that knows how to play their character. So
I'm more concerned about the comment itself. It's like, oh, haha, you're not using Metabattle. Well, so what? Like, okay.
Yeah, and
I don't see what the comment has to do with.
Well, and nowadays PvP, in a sense, for every game, seems like you have to have a tougher skin, because it's like people just have these nasty ass little attitudes. Like it seems like you're dealing with like a childlike immaturity of like. And it's sad because I've even in Overwatch, for example, just being in a comp match, you hear a grown man or a grown woman like throwing a tantrum,
right?
And you're just like, come on now, like this is a game. I get you can get upset when something doesn't go right, and I get you can get upset if you know, the whole setup of the group didn't work out correctly like it should have. But it's like in the end, you're also driving people away, or you're making people shut down their stuff. Like now, like Overwatch has come to the point where you can mute the person, you can mute your chat, you can mute like all chat, you can mute team chat, like, and now people want this on Guild Wars 2, where you can just mute, like just shut down everything. And that's not good, because in the end, if you do need to communicate with your teammate, you can't anymore, because that teammate doesn't want to deal with getting yelled at. That teammate doesn't want to deal with the anxiety of like this pressure. So, and
that's why I keep it on, even if everything goes wrong. I still have it on in case there's vital information that needs to happen.
Like I play a lot of comp Overwatch, so I can speak to that a lot. And honestly, like if somebody is doing something unconventional, I'm usually like, okay, but if it doesn't go right, you need to switch. Like, don't bring the team down because you're not doing well. Like,
but there's a way of doing it. It's not like, oh my god, blah, blah, and like scream at them, right? You're not yelling at the person.
But then you run into people who are just like, they don't switch, and it's like, dude, like now the morale's down and the team does bad. I've had so many.
But the good thing about that is, at least Blizzard's doing it, and it seems like Guild Wars 2 is trying to now, but Blizzard's adding more obviously options to, you know, get down to the nitty gritty of like why this person's being reported, why
I will
like,
report
the skip
people
match thing. Like I hope all these MMOs do that, where you can skip like maybe a couple matches from a couple players per season that you don't want to play with, that you know causes problems, and maybe that would help, you know, focus whatever, like the developers or whoever on that person, and be like, why is this person such a problem? Like what can we see in the background, you know? So like I'm kind of glad Overwatch is doing that, and I hope maybe, you know, PvP for Guild Wars 2, maybe they'll do something like that, where you can skip a couple times per season of a player that you don't like, but you obviously have to be matched with them, and you know, you can't just sit there and skip whoever you freely want. So I don't know.
I like in the end, you know,
it's complex.
It's kind of just where technology is and the internet itself. It's people have, you know, can be anonymous and, you know, be like that. Because I still remember, what was it, like an April Fool's joke or something that WoW did one time, where they're like, or I think they actually wanted to do it, where they're like, oh, we're gonna put people's actual names on the forums, and people are like, no, like don't do that, I'm a complete jerk on, you know. It's like,
Well,
But
and that's the sad part is like you can see people's true colors when it comes down to like when it's serious comp. And I mean, it makes sense, like, because it's comp. You're supposed to be playing somewhat serious because you want
Yes.
that end
I hope
goal.
you're playing seriously if you're playing comp. I hope people are on my team are taking it seriously.
Hmm. But at the same time, it's a game. You shouldn't be like turning it into a job. I'm not getting paid for this. You're not getting paid for this. Unless you're going to esports, and that's a whole different story. And, you know, there's a different way of going through that. And even the guys who used to do for esports themselves explain, like, how you can get to those points. And it's not the way that most of us do it naturally. Like, the way we do it, we either overreact, or we're, like, being dramatic and stuff like that. And you see that now in the, actually, like, again, Overwatch, for example. Sorry, not to use them so much, but, like, right now, the teams that are currently going, there's a couple of players that got docked for poor attitude, for basically calling their player names, you know, bad names or whatever, being harsh or whatever. So, or how they act on their streams, like if they're acting like a douche to other players that are playing this game. So it's just one of those things. The overall story for that Metabattle thing, it's a good write-up. It's not bad. I agree to most of that guy's points, but at the same time, it's like everyone here agrees. It's like, can't really help it. It's where we are in the times. It's
it's an interesting article.
yeah.
to call out one website,
Mhm.
like it's not one website. It's
the players. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
so.
Exactly.
But yes. So you know, you could go into PvP, maybe get like a nice fancy armor or skins, maybe raid, get the fancy legendary armor, or you can just, you know, swipe a credit card, get a nice thing from the gem store. Speaking of the gem store, thank you to always Dolphy.net. Check out Dolphy.net so you can spend your gems more wisely. First up, we have the Mini Super Trio Series 4, and you can see them here for 600 gems. Well, this is the interesting part. So you see right there, you have the bunny, the piranha, and the turtle, and then at the bottom right corner there is the angry cloud. Well, you can get the first three I mentioned, the bunny, the piranha, and the turtle, in that set. Now, if you put those three in the Mystic Forge, it will give you the mini cloud. Now, the problem with that is it consumes those. It does not unlock them in your inventory. So if you want all four, you're going to have to buy two sets, you know, two of these packages. So if you want all four, it's going to cost you 1,200 gems. You know, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Are you going to be picking them up, or? Ugh.
I'm not really a gem store.
Yeah, none of the stuff recently that's been coming out for Gem Store, I don't really care for. Besides that, obviously, other people are against the mount crap, but I don't care. I bought it because I know the work behind the scenes, because I've worked for them, and I know the amount and the money that goes to it. So I bought me a couple mount scraps for the latest like mount batch. But other than that, I haven't bought any of the Sab stuff, any of the gliders, nothing.
Not gonna buy for myself, but are going to give away these for guildies.
Yeah, I do that too. It's just like, I don't know. I buy them. I don't care. So.
Yeah, I'm not a big mini person. I mean, they've done this in the past, and I mean, you know, people aren't a fan of it then, but hasn't really stopped them. So
if you throw them in the Mystic Forge, do they give you something different like they used to, where it was like if you throw all of them in, I think they gave you the banana or something, or
I think they always gave you like something like the
extra, so you had to end
or...
up buying like a second pack or something.
Yeah, because I remember they did that with the Halloween ones, like the first version of them.
But this set is unique because if you take that fish under the water, will actually, you know, swim with you. So it's
that's pretty cool. I wonder if it's using the same model as what the mini like floppy fish or whatever it was that they had. That was just on the. It was just a fish out of water.
It's just because minis are so bland. Like I'm with Deo on the whole thing. Like it's just like I don't know. Like if they did something more cool, I guess, but it's pointless to really spend my cash on. Like I'm down for gems. I'm down to buying it from gold, whatever, from other players or whatever it is, or earning it through collection or bosses. But I just find like putting $10 in and being like, let me buy these 4 minis that don't do anything. And even when you worldly world, you're not really supposed to have minis out because they haven't fixed this yet. But when you have a mini out, if you ever go stealth or a cloak, that mini shows where you're going. So if you're a smart player and you watch someone with a mini pet out, you can see where they go. If they go, if they're an assassin, So I'm just saying, it's pointless to have those minis. They do nothing but cause problems for you.
They give you away. They're your worst enemy and you bought it.
Plus half the time they cause problems where it's there's too many people on the map, so now we can't have your mini out. So what's the point of having a mini then? I can't even put it out in the first place.
Yeah, I think I've maybe bought 1 or 2 in the whole time. One was the golden pig, because come on, a golden pig.
The golden pig was pretty dope. I'll give you that.
But yeah, that is always the sad thing. It's I paid for this. Oh hey, yeah, it's too cluttered. We kind of just put that away. It's but
I like the idea of it being a memory thing. If I really like SAB and I get this, then it's oh, I can see SAB all year round.
Okay, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Also up in the gem store is the winged head piece for 400 gems. It is an armor piece, so it does unlock all 3 weight classes.
Ugly. If it was a little smaller, maybe, but it's just so ridiculously gaudy. It's just what is going on?
I think it's kind of cool. I like it.
I don't know. Maybe it has to work with certain people to slap it together. So far, I've seen people with it, and it does not look good.
Human cultural armor, and then that. Yep.
I could kind of see it with that, since they kind of already have the seraph winged theme. But yeah, I personally, for me, can't, not for 400 gems. That's
no.
It just looks like everybody's trying to cosplay
stories, at the end, the Codicus mask, whatever. I could see that given to me, because that's just, it's something ridiculous and silly, but ugh.
Yeah, more power to the people that enjoy it. It is an armor piece, so you can put it, mix and match it, hopefully in an armor set that makes it look good. But yeah, who here is actually gonna probably pick it up, or have you picked it up?
No, I probably won't. Maybe. Probably not.
Don't lie. You two are gonna pick it up after this. I know it now.
I have a full spreadsheet of all my characters with all their armor pieces. I would have to slide something over to get this. No.
Probably. I usually don't buy gem store stuff right off the bat. If I want it, I usually sit on it for a little bit and then make it
the last day.
Yeah, that's how I am. Or I wait till sales. I'll wait too long and it'll disappear, and I'm I'll just wait until the sale.
It's do I really want this? Let me think about it.
I'm sad the bunny ears are going away before the event for the guilties. That's the one I'm sad about. Yeah.
Well, like Kit was saying, speaking of discounted stuff, basically it seems like the other miniature trios. So the miniature super trio is 400 gems, which is 20% off. The miniature super trio world 2 is 400 gems, which is 20% off. And the miniature super trio series 3 is 480 gems, which is 20% off. So definitely pick those up if you want to play catch up with the SAB minis.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of you going to be picking those up specifically?
No, but I should for just the achievement points. But I'm just no, I don't want to spend my money on that. I don't know why. I'm just
that's how I feel.
I don't blame you. But last up, we have the community corner. So first up, we have the Guild Mag is actually starting to stream again. They mentioned on Twitter in this past week. If for people who don't know, Guild Mag is a Guild Wars 2 news website, and they have fun and interesting articles. They also actually every year put out an actual physical magazine type thing. I think Kit, didn't you write for it as well, or
no, I was part of one of their stories though.
Or part of one of the stories. Okay. Yeah. It usually uses a lot of YouTube or content creators and stuff.
Really cool to get a hold of, especially because there's not a lot of I would say like fan cool, like because they go through the community. Like there's been MMO Inks who talks about raiding and other stuff that's been on there. There's been other community partners. They go through Twitch people, they go through artists, go through lore people, RP type people like Aidda. So it's really cool in a unique way slash magazine. Like, and the covers is really pretty every single time. Like whoever they get the artist every single time is always beautiful. So
yeah. We've talked about it, we showed off the magazine thing because it usually happens right in the December month. So
yeah,
it's definitely nice looking and great quality. And I'm glad to see that they're actually starting to stream that. But this past Friday, they had 2 streams that were kind of like test streams for potentially their new streamers that are Nola
I saw their test
and M1K1, which sadly I think it happened. It was 5 p.m. GMT and then 10 p.m. GMT, which for me equated to 1 p.m. Eastern time and 6 p.m., which I think I caught like the tail end of the second one, but I sadly was at work on that Friday. So, yeah, they seemed like they were cool. I think the one I was watching was roaming around in World v World. I think the Desert Borderlands, but yeah, they definitely seem.
I think they're
cool.
actually also looking for a writer or something. Like, I guess if you go to their Twitter or whatever, they are looking. They often are looking for people to like either be a writer for them or an editor or whatever. So, if you're into that stuff and you're into Guild Wars 2, definitely check that out. I don't know if it's still going on, but it was like last month, I believe I saw.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember we did a story or something. Like we talked about it, where they were looking for people because I remember we mentioned, Aaron that used to be on the show. And they do a lot with the
community, do like Pink Day in LA, all that good stuff. So,
yeah, definitely a cool group. So,
dope, yeah,
definitely keep an eye on them if you want to, start dipping your toe in the, business and stuff like that. Never know where it could lead.
Yeah, good experience.
Maybe someday,
if that's what you want to do.
Maybe someday. I mean.
Maybe
Especially
honestly,
if you're a Guild Wars fan, write or do whatever you like to play or what's your passion, especially if you're into Guild Wars too. So
yeah,
that's
honestly,
a cool opportunity.
Yeah, honestly, Aidda, if you're interested, if they have an opening, go for it. I mean, I remember when we were just starting out the podcast, I think it might have been a little bit before that, Aaron, who was on the show at, we were just doing, GBN stuff, and I think they were looking for writers, and I think he went to school for writing and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, you should go for it. And he went and he was on their podcast and stuff like that, and streamed for them, and so it can't hurt. I'm just if they have an opening, go for it. The worst they can say is not at this time, or but then you just keep going at it. So give it a try. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on Guildmag. It looks like things are starting back up, which I'm definitely excited for. Also, we've talked about them in the past. The Guild Wars 2 Collective were making their Tyrion tarot cards, and ArenaNet tweeted out just giving a heads up of the funding campaign will be opening April 15th. And basically it's just a sign up to be notified of the kind of the early bird promotions and stuff. And also, like, all the proceeds go to charity, which I believe is the International Fund for Animal Welfare, which definitely, good cause. We also have some of from their Tumblr, where are they? The pictures of some of the tarot cards and stuff like that. So definitely look absolutely beautiful. I mean, like, if you're a fan of just collecting cards in general or just art in general, I would strongly urge it if you're a fan of tarot cards.
Magazine with them, and it had a bunch of art and stories in it, and we made like little RP stories as well. So, and most of the artists they pick are really good, and this time they did a whole bunch. So I agree, like, the cards would be worth it, especially if you just want some cool art around your desk, if you're into just only Guild Wars 2 or just even like game mobilia kind of thing. So
Yeah, Chad's saying they were seeing one of the people working on Livia. You know, it's beautiful. Yeah, like absolutely amazing from just the screenshots I've seen. So I couldn't even imagine seeing it like in your hand type thing. But like I said, sign up now, and it will. The sale starts on the 15th, so it'll.
And they do handle with care, because I have
reminder.
my little set here with me for my winter. Like they give you a little extra, like depending what package you did, but like they give you little art cards, and they're really nice material. It's not like a crappy little here's a piece of paper and it's gonna tear, and like it's really nice that you can either frame or put up on the wall.
Oh wow.
You can't see me. I'm jumping up and down. I'm going. We have to give Deo a tarot reading when we get done.
Oh boy.
Because he said he would on that last stream.
Did I? Okay.
Yes. But they're doing on the Givers to official Twitter, or not Twitter, Twitch. They're showing each artist is doing a live stream of each card. So they've done like 4 so far, I think. So if you check out Sunday, you can see one of the cards being drawn and how they did it, and ask questions and stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a good way to, get more people involved.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely check that out. I see chat saying, stuff that they're interested in. Here, we'll give you the Guild Wars 2 tweet that they put out. And if you are watching on YouTube, of course, links will always be in the description. But, since we do have guests here today for Community Corner, I mean, what have you guys been doing if you want to plug anything or...
I basically just do the Traveler stuff like I always do, where I write like little Traveler quest lines, and then give away goodies for the items I need back. So I just continue basically Nicholas the Traveler's legacy, but through the community and / player side. So that's about what I do. And then obviously and then stream. So I don't really do anything too fabulous besides that on my end. I don't know about Aidda though. Aidda said she just recently they did that chair thing. So
yeah, so I'm a guild leader for the Crime Herald News. On YouTube, I have 5 major series that I'm doing. I'm doing the supplement to Let's Play. So it's like stuff that you missed in the Let's Play, like people can die or you can let people die. It's really funny. I'm doing the legendary weapon collections. So I'm doing like a video to help you get through your legendaries. And then I always do like a giveaway or something for the guild. And then like we're having a Earth Day event. So we're going to clean up Keswick's Hills on the 22nd. And we're also going to plant a tree in the guild hall for every member of our guild. So
that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
lots
cool.
of events. So yeah, come join us if you need a guild and you're in the EU.
Cool. I haven't been doing too much Guild Wars 2 content as of late. I was talking to you guys about that before we went live, but I do have Guild Wars 2 lore content over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ragucci25. I also run my own podcast, video games, movies, comics related, that I do in my basement in the set that's not set up behind me. with friends from the area. It's called Delco Nerd Network. You can follow us at Delco Nerds, covering all sorts of stuff over there. And that's a fun time. Just, it's cool to sit down in a, and set up with your friends and just like shoot the shit about stuff. It's actually really different to talk about anything and in an official capacity and like going in depth instead of just like, oh, you're with your friend and you're just like talking. But when you actually sit down and like you're like discussing something or analyzing, it's cool. It's fun.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I definitely like when the little thief told me about the rag on the Batman versus Superman. I went back and actually watched it, and yeah, I definitely recommend checking out if you're I know it's not Guild Wars 2 related, but it's like if you're in a fan of movies and kind of the nerd culture and stuff like that. And I mean, from what I've seen, like when we talk about during after show and all that stuff, I think a lot of you are, so definitely go check it out. But yeah, it looks like that is it for this week. So Anthony, where can they find you?
You can find me over at _the_Gooch, GOOCH_. You know, I messaged the guy who just has the the name the Gooch, and I'm like, what do I have to do to get that handle off you? And he actually wanted me to like hit him up with a like a money offer. And I'm like, hey, this guy's like, I was like, let me just joke around, see what he do. I was like, $30, and he's like, nah, dude, way higher than that. I was like, get out of here. So yeah, that is my Twitter handle. You can go.
I thought I was bad with the underscore, but boy,
yeah, dude, it stinks when you have a name and it's just like I got to do all these underscores. Richie always teases me. He's like, dude, you need a better handle, and it's like I'm not changing it now. Or if I just buy this guy's handle one day.
To be fair, your thing has handles. It has underscore like you have handles on your name. It's an even better handle.
I'm getting held up.
And Kit, where can they find you?
Obviously you can find me on my Twitter at KitTheTraveler. You can find me on my Twitch at KitTheTraveler. You can find me on my website, KitTheTraveler.com. I normally post the current event stories that I'm doing on KitTheTraveler.com or on the Facebook group page of Nicholas the Traveler. And then, so if you're ever looking at what events I'm doing, most of the time I do it Friday through Sunday, and basically you just read the event, see what I need, give it to me, and go from there. If not, just once in a while trying to do Twitter. I always forget Twitter. I also go on Reddit with it, but if you're finding me, it's literally just Kit the Traveler. I don't have any handlebar issues. I don't have any weird deals with anyone's background. I made sure to clear that out of the way before I made all this stuff.
So it occurs between Friday and Sunday. Oh boy, are we gonna have a lot of people mad at us because we stole you for a weekend?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. They understand though. They sometimes
I apologize ahead of time.
It's okay. No, it's nice for them because then it gets me outside the box, because often I'm just like locked away in my mailbox all weekend. So
well, we're glad we got you away from your mailbox. So. Definitely fun. And Aidda, where can they find you?
So I'm at Aidda GW2 on YouTube, and then you can always find me in the Talking Skritt Discord, my Discord. I'm literally everyone's Discord. Running joke. That's how I have all this connections. And then, yeah, if you can't get a hold of me, just leave it in the YouTube comment section of this video, and I'll find you if you're trying to find me. So yeah.
Telling you, she's an Order Whispers agent. We're gonna find it out. And you can find me at simply_Dea on Twitch and Twitter. And if you are just popping at the very end, do stick around. We do an after show where it's more free form, kind of talking about anything really. Maybe we'll argue about Batman versus Superman. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming out. If you are just popping in, we do highlight this on Twitch, which twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit. If we do throw it up on YouTube, that's on Sundays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and that's just search Talking Skritt on YouTube. It's usually the first one that pops up. I would like to thank this week from the Twitch host, Serene Virus, Arlie82, KitTheTraveler, Jaibu Cool, 7-Bit Brian, Shadows of the Dragon Podcasts, Ayin, That Chevron, Maple Syrup and Beers, and Host of Ascalon. And like Aidda was saying, we do have a community Discord, links in the description and on the Twitch page. But yeah, that is it for this week, and we'll see everybody next time, and we'll always see you in the game. Good night, everybody.
Boop.